to do the opening with,
I'd wait one more minute
Yeah, all right.
and then do your first one, A, B, and C.
Okay. And then bring it to open the meeting, call to order, yeah.
Yes, and then after Flora reads the announcement, we'll need a motion and a second and a roll call vote to enter the executive session.
You pass it on to Roy. He signed it.
We can
oh,
rotate.
it's a seating thing.
Let's just rotate it every
No.
week.
Usually Carson sits either there or there, and since he's not here, I'd give it to you.
Yeah, right.
There you
Couldn't
go.
give it to them.
Couldn't give it to the.
I'm accent conscious.
Oliver, you keeping track?
In chocolate, taking notes.
5:30.
All right, 5:30.
Ready, Bruce?
Bruce? Didn't hear anything.
Did they fix the go-to meeting?
I tested it today and I called in myself and it worked. So if it doesn't work for the meeting, I'm blaming you all
All right,
because
we're
it worked
good.
then.
All right. Welcome to the Sturbridge Conservation Commission for October 3rd, 2024. It is 5:30. We are meeting one half hour earlier than normally. We are at 301 Main Street in Sturbridge, 01566. Conservation Commission will hold this meeting in person with an option for virtual attendance. In-person attendance will be at the meeting location that I just gave. Please join my meeting from your computer, tablet, or smartphone. I'm not going to give you that at this point. So we will go to call the order. All in favor, Eric?
Eric Gaspar, present.
Roy Bishop, present.
Ed Goodwin, present. All right. The announcement will be that we are going to go into executive session pursuant to GLC 30A.
Oh, Carson is here.
Carson, Section 21A3, to discuss the strategy with respect to litigation, Kerboy Auto, and...
Did you want to read that announcement first?
What?
You want to do that announcement first?
Yeah,
This
go
one?
ahead. You can
Okay.
read that.
In the interest of saving time, the Sturbridge Conservation Commission will hold all public hearings tonight
How you doing?
for work within a wetland water body or resource area and/or within a 200-foot buffer zone to a wetland water body or resource area
Oh,
in
really?
accordance with Mass Wetland Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and associated regulations, and the Town of Sturbridge Wetland Bylaws and associated regulations. We will not be reading the newspaper ad. Prior to opening the first hearing of each project, the applicant is to submit proof of notification to abutters within 200 feet of the subject property line and proof of legal newspaper advertisement. These items are not submitted, the public hearing will not open. Additionally, prior to the start of each public hearing, we will announce the location of the project, the applicant, and the applicant's representative. If any of the visitors have not legibly signed in yet, please do. Also, if any visitors are recording this meeting, please let us know. Thank you.
You want me to just incorporate the language in my motion then?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session pursuant to GL 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation against Kerboy Auto Incorporated versus the Sturbridge Conservation Commission in the Worcester Superior Court, docket number 2385CV00877, involving the property located at 71 Mashpog Road. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares that having the discussion in open session would have a detrimental effect on the town's litigating position.
Second the motion?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Sandra Money in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Check with Bruce to make sure we're all fair. Good. Okay. So at our last
Oh, she's signing in?
She was really upset with you.
Well, if she's not late, we're gonna go to the next,
Next hearing.
yeah.
Okay.
You
A1?
read it already?
No.
Yep, I'm gonna read it right now. 34 Willard Road, request for determination of applicability for a swimming pool. 6 PM.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You don't have to do anything, just sit there.
Right here?
Yeah, it's warm,
Alright.
it's a warm body seat.
Every now and then, you just turn to them and tell them to speed it up, okay?
That's all you have to do. They know me.
And you have proof of legal advertisement and a butter notification for this one as well.
Thank you.
Line, you're on. Introduce yourself. and-
Thank you. Don't touch that, Mike.
Right, I
You
know,
can
he
hear-
tells me that all the
Uh,
time.
Can you hear me now? So we have an
Name and address
in-ground...
for the record, Glenn.
we- Excuse me?
Name and address for the record.
Glenn Kravosky, EBT Environment Consultants, 601 Main Street, North Oxford. Thank you. And Sarah Higgins, the client, along with her significant other. Thank you. He was here somewhere.
He's at work.
Oh, I thought the person that was with you might have been.
No.
No,
I'm here
okay.
by myself.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am.
My husband is still working.
I only met him briefly. Thank you. So we're proposing an in-ground pool behind the house where there was a above-ground pool. Thank you for having that on the screen. It's a scenic road. We'll start at the road. We were looking at an access. The pool gentleman, Gueri, could I have his first name? Greg, is it? Greg Gueri?
Yes.
Thank you. Greg Gueri, you might know him possibly. He's a pool installer. And initially, he was going to break through that stone wall. If I'm standing on the road facing in on the right-hand side, but that's a scenic road, so we're not touching the wall. So we're coming across the front with mats because there is sewer and water line there, and we want to make sure that we don't disrupt those that go into the house directly in front of the house. So that
Oh, you don't have sewer?
Sorry?
you have sewer and water.
I'm on public water.
Public water?
Public water.
Yes.
Is it? It's just water or sewer too?
Both are public.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
So because of that, this is what the gentleman told me, the pool installer, that he would lay down mats, swamp mats, so they could cross over, so he's not disrupting or putting any pressure on the sewer and water. So it'll come from the driveway, that's what the red line is, it comes down and then goes in between the house and the property to the right. I believe this should be facing, it is, I'm sorry, north-south, 36 being north up above and we're south of it, and 30 below us, which is, again, south. So we come in and, Sarah, we end up having a proposed 40 by 18-inch in-ground pool surrounded by 4 feet patio. That's with the red line going around. We flagged the wetland boundary, and we can see it over here. Wetland flag 2A is 92 feet to the closest point of the pool. Delineated and tape measured. We gave some photographs. We had asked your agent, Lauren, one of your agents, if they were going to, she thought that they were going to require an NOI or an RDA, and it was stated RDA, so we filed an RDA, and we put together this sketch plan, which was also discussed with Lauren, and And then we have a 9-inch staked wattle. No stockpiling is described in the project description of the material coming out. There won't be any material left behind. It all goes in a truck and trucked off. And, let's see, hydrologic connection, stream stat will not run. Oh, there is an intermittent stream back there. You can barely see it. It's the black line to the, it's a dark line right below that hydrologic connection. Well, there you go. It points right to the stream. So in some of these streams that the USGS stream stat will not run. They're so small that it doesn't run. So that indicates it's well under a tenth of a mile, square mile. Generally, at 60 acres, they'll run. But anything too small, they don't run. And the regulation on 12-2002 required us to run stream stat if you can run them. And so that's why we bring that matter up. It's just to show we're not within a 200-foot riverfront area. XSO will be directly removed. It's on the lower part. I delineated the wetlands. There it is, 824. And all exposed soils will be loomed as normal and seeded. And if there are conditions that are put on a determination, we'll wait to hear them. That is the project. Again, let me just say one other thing. You can see that the original in-ground pool where the top shading of that evergreen is, that's where the in-ground pool was. So we're a little bit closer to, that's it right there, thank you. So we're a little bit closer to the house. And that is the full project at this time. We also submitted a document from the pool man, only because it was asked whether or not this would be drained. We've been doing pools, Woburn, the western part is all over the state for Pioneer Pool. Most pools today do not get drained. There's actually a warranty that they lose if they drain because in case if the thing starts floating or breaks or cracks. But we do fiberglass, big fiberglass ones come on flatbeds, no draining. And I talked, so we gave a statement, my office got it, I had to be in Belchertown, but we're saying this will not be drained, so there's no chlorine. Years ago, back in the 90s, that we saw more drained pools. We don't see them anymore. You might, but I haven't. But this one won't be. And the last actual point, there was some discussion at the site inspection about the deck in the back. Miss Higgins does not know what they're going to do with that. So in the future, yeah. I was attempting to do pool and deck, but because they're up in the air exactly on that deck, they will come back in front of you because it will be within 200 feet. And they're going to do something separate maybe next year on the deck issue.
Yeah, but it'll be the deck will be between the pool and the house.
Yes, yes, sir. It's right where the deck is now. It's just getting a little bit older, maybe.
The deck, quote unquote.
Yeah, so.
Whoever put it in did not do it correctly.
Okay.
So.
This deck.
Yeah.
It was staked out in the corners by the pool man. That's that stake on the right. That's another stake. So the four corners were out there, and that's what we measured to get the closest point. That green thing on the ground is basically the outline of the pool also.
Lauren, anything?
We did the site inspection. The site's relatively flat. It's minimal impact to the resource area. So my recommendation would be to issue a negative determination with the 4 conditions as noted. It's not an order of conditions, so it does not need a separate vote for that. And there's no waiver required as it's outside of the jurisdictional area.
Thank you.
Eric?
I learn something new every day. I thought anything within 100 feet needed NOI. Does not. Okay. All right. Cool.
Depends on the disturbance.
Okay. Cool. No, I think it's a pretty straightforward project. I don't have any issues with this.
No trees coming down. I forgot to mention that also.
Boy?
Nothing.
Nothing? Motion? Oh, public, anybody in the public like to speak on this?
All right. I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Or Bishop in favor.
Center Ryan in favor.
Carlson Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin. We're all set.
With regards to the project at 34 Willard Road, I'd like to make a motion to issue a negative determination for the swimming pool project with the agent's four conditions noted in the detailed agenda under the Wetland Protection Act.
Second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Or Bishop in favor.
St. Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
Thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Oh, half hour.
Don't be sorry. Yeah, no worries.
Are you all gonna want that mailed to you or pick it up when the permit's ready?
Oh, I'm happy to pick it up.
We'll give you a call.
Yeah, I live right down the street. It's a good walk.
Perfect.
Thank you again.
Thank you all.
All right, we are now at 6:10.
Good day.
We're at 338, the trail, notice of intent for a SWB, Service Wetland Bylaw, construction of a single-family home with associated site work. And we have a, is that number right? 25-18?
Correct.
What?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Sturbridge.
Okay, yes.
Sorry, that's a new thing. I asked Aaron to start assigning numbers prior to approval, because even if they get denied, there's still something, but it helps me organize.
Okay, all right.
Do they need the
Yeah,
DEP
you know,
numbers too?
There is no DEP number
Slow
required for this.
creep of these changes.
I'm
My head,
making them
it's very
gradual.
I'd rather drink from the fire hose and do them all at once.
And if I can't rely on you, who can I rely on?
I am, you're in trouble.
All right. Please introduce yourselves and go forward.
Sure. So my name is Matt Brochu. This is my wife, Lindsay Brochu. We live in town here. We have 3 little kids. Our oldest just started at Burgess. She's in kindergarten, so yeah, we're longtime residents. We've been here for 10 years. Love the town. Love everything that you guys are doing. So before I start, I just wanted to say thank you to Lauren and Erin for all the help and support along the way. You know, this has been a learning opportunity for us, and you know, you guys have given us some really good direction and feedback, and really appreciate your guidance. We've also been working very closely with Sherman and Frederick and Glenn. I don't know
Glenn
if he's still here or not, but
Keep moving, we're better off.
I hear you. Working with him as well. So the property we're discussing is 338 The Trail, obviously in town. It's currently an undeveloped lot. It's a single-family residential build that we're proposing. And happy to walk you through what we're thinking or answer any questions that you guys may have.
All right, well, we've been, Aaron, why don't you? Lauren, I'm sorry.
So yeah, this has been quite a journey. At the last meeting, you all voted to accept a withdrawal for a notice of intent application because the project originally fell under the 200-foot riverfront area. Because of the limited amount of riverfront they have and the WPA regulations that only allow up to 10% alteration, the project was basically not feasible. So that project was withdrawn and since now falls under a portion of it under the 200-foot buffer, and due to the slope falls under the slope bylaw, which brings it up to a 500-foot buffer, hence putting this all before you. Definitely a complicated, ledgy, sloped site. After our site visit, I did go walk the rest of the property. I had some questions on the staking, which I think you said might not be correct. But it's,
What were your questions? Happy to, and we can start wherever y'all want.
yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, it's a very steep site. It already has slow infiltration because of the soil types, so it's just trying to figure out what's going to be the best option for
Yeah.
this project, and also protecting the resource areas, and then of course the abutters as well, and then obviously preserving your home.
We've worked, I would say, over the last couple of months, kind of behind the scenes, very closely with Lauren and Glenn and the engineers to propose and try to mitigate all of those things, right? So, in order to stay out of the 200-foot rip zone, the driveway has to be run on that left, all down the left side of the property. That is the only option. And so knowing that that's where that driveway has to go, like what things can we do to mitigate not only during construction, but also once the site is finalized. And so, you know, a number of those things I would say, like during construction, like running the silt-backed fence all along that property line to protect our neighbors. And then after construction, like the stone aprons on each side of the driveway, the roof leaders all around the house running to the rain garden. Like we really have worked with Lauren and listened to Lauren and her guidance and Glenn about what we can do to protect like our neighbors, to protect the wetland buffer, and to make sure that, you know, all this water that's coming from what we've disturbed isn't going to run into the foundation, and, you know, we aren't going to have constant problems. So I am up for ideas, but we really tried to think about, you know, what will mitigate and what will keep everybody safe, you know?
At least the three little ones anyway, huh?
You got it.
You guys have sleds?
Yeah, who doesn't? But we need snow. We need snow.
I don't think so, not on that hill.
Maybe so.
Lauren, you want to? Here. Now, do
I'd
we
like to
have to
see
stay
any-
out of the 200?
Yes.
Why?
The Rivers Act.
It's, under the River Protection Act, they can only disturb up to 10%. But because, so of their pie, they have a very small pie. So 10% is not a lot. I think the max was like 400 something
400.
feet that they would even be able to touch, which will maybe give you a curve out that way, but it's, yeah. And
There was
there's
no
no
way.
appeal process. There's nothing. It was, we had conversations with DEP. It was pretty much anything beyond that 10% for this property. It just can't be done. There's no
Glenn
going
confirmed
around
that
it
as
or
well.
alternatives or anything
He
like
said
that.
the only person who ever has gotten a waiver was the Patriots for the new stadium. I said I don't like my odds on that one, Glenn.
All right.
So
I think going forward, you're going to be better than the Patriots are.
yeah. Well, you're right. It's a low bar. It's a low bar this year. So there's no way that rip zone runs. It's that.
Top right.
Yeah. And so there was no way to get our driveway through any of that area and stay under that 10% for their performance standards.
Ideally, having the driveway on this side
Yeah.
would have been best for the site. It just can't legally be done.
Yep.
Yep. Which is
And
where-
because the original proposal had the house further down, but
Nope.
and it's unfortunate, it's one of those situations that it's going to have to be more disturbance to the site just to meet those requirements.
So I think I met with Lauren and Aaron back in March, April. So that's how long.
It's actually longer.
Yeah, I think it was still when Becky was
Email.
here.
That doesn't matter. Let's go forward here, okay?
Yeah.
Laura, I think you had some questions as well.
Yes, so it's not like for drying anything like longer, but the snow storage.
Mm-hmm.
And my concern, and it's also I think it's a concern like for you as well. The driveway that you have is a very very long driveway, and I'm not sure if that space that it has been reserved for snow storage will be capable of storing the snow that you get in the winter. I wanted like to see if you have the area of driveway and the area of the storage to see more or less what's that proportion.
Okay.
There are like some areas, I couldn't find any numbers here for Massachusetts, but in some other states they have 20%. So it's like having, as a snow storage, 20% of the area that you're going to be plowing. or at least be sure that you have a space, if you're going to be storing it at the size, that you have a space for one car or one ambulance or something like that. Just don't want like to get you blocked in winter, especially for emergency.
Okay. Yeah, we can go back to the engineers and have them calculate that for sure. My hope would be that they took that into consideration when they blocked out the snow storage area, but definitely can get you some numbers on that for sure.
And the other thing is that very steep slope that you have in the eastern side of the property. Do you know? Yes, that one. If they're going to have some type of retaining wall to hold it in place, because it's quite steep.
Yep, so we proposed, in the driveway detail, there's they call a guardrail or slope protection.
Have we got a driveway detail we can bring up?
Yeah, it's down there on the left. Or, no, higher.
Yeah, a little bit higher on the left,
Right there.
top left.
Typical driveway section.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking on that right-hand side there. It's called guardrail or slope protection as required. When I talked with Lauren about this as well, there's a chance that we hit ledge on that side, which would kind of provide that natural. But if it's not there, then I think we like the engineers have called out that we would need that also. Yep. Yep.
And the last thing was the swale on the street.
Yeah.
I don't know, like you, Lauren, maybe have like checked that. It seemed that it was quite, like yes, that one wasn't very deep, like has like grass growing on it. So I don't know if like maintenance of that is, or divert the water that is coming through the driveway so that it goes into that swale and it doesn't like kind of like it a big slope, impervious, all that water, if it is a heavy rain, will come down like a river and it will like cross that,
wanna speak
that
to some of
street.
that?
So maybe some diversion of water.
Yeah.
Maybe the rain garden that you were mentioning, like, or some type of
So I think we proposed a number of things to manage the water coming off the driveway.
Yep. So a few things that were called out. So one thing is the stone apron surrounding both sides of the driveway with perforated pipe in it as well. So that'll catch all of the water before it hits the driveway. It'll hit the stone apron and it's perforated. It'll, hopefully settle in. Anything that hits the driveway and goes towards the abutting neighbor, there's another stone apron all the way along the driveway to catch any runoff there as well. Additionally, all the way at the bottom, on the north side of the driveway, there's a rip wrap pad to catch some of that, some of that flow that's coming down as well. And then all the way at the bottom of the driveway, on the plan we have noted an HDPE drain to basically catch the water, to protect it from the wetlands, to prevent it from going across the road. I think your point's a good one. We could take a look at that swale and see if there's any maintenance that could help
It looked to me
additionally.
that it was adequate if you maintained it.
Open to suggestions for sure, but tried our hardest to.
no, that's good. You
How do
you have
Okay,
those
great.
things.
What about flow bumps? You're gonna have any speed bumps on it?
Yep, so we have, it's noted on the plan on the south side of what you guys are looking at, adjacent to the driveway, we have check dams. I'm not sure how many they are, but you can see the
Trying
little,
to make me look bad, huh?
and again, this is all based on feedback
Yeah.
from these guys and Glenn and the
We've learned
engineers.
so much. That's great.
Now, do you have a four-wheel drive truck? That's the next question.
Yes.
We both do,
Oh, you
yes.
do? Are you gonna plow?
No.
Is that-
we'll figure out whatever makes the most sense.
The only reason I ask is I have a child that has a hill like that,
Yeah,
and if you don't start at the top, plowing down, which he can do, it gets pretty tough on him.
sure. So maybe,
We have snow again, like you said.
yep. So maybe there's a nice snow blower in our future.
He started that, it failed.
Did it? Yeah. So we'll have to sort through that
If it's
piece.
blowing snow and pushing up the hill at the same time,
Yep.
We have a landing at the bottom of the hill, so you can walk up.
Yeah, and so there's additional snow storage. There is snow storage at the top of the hill, but there's also a big additional snow storage at the bottom there too.
Yeah, that's the one that I saw. That snow storage. It's like, okay, if you're like blowing everything, will you have enough?
Yeah. Well, so there's three actually. There's one there at the bottom on the left. It's kind of like a checkered.
The bottom
Yeah,
right.
that's the one that I
Lauren.
saw.
Yeah, and then there's two others at the top by the driveway. So one is all the way at the end of the driveway, which I think is obvious.
Oh,
and then
okay.
and then there's a third one, if you can see that checkered area kind of on the other side of the driveway. Yeah.
is there any possibility for something halfway down? Because you're gonna, if you are plowing or you are either up or down, you're gonna need to, wanna unload
Yep.
the load.
Yeah. Yeah, we can ask them and see if they can put something
Is
in.
it
I mean, the
possible?
tough part about it is it starts to get to not be our property pretty quick, you know?
My recommendation is to
Yeah.
check the area. If
Yeah,
you have like
no,
about
we'll-
like
we'll
20,
just run the
20%,
numbers on that.
Yeah.
That was like.
I'm not trying to create a problem. I'm tr-
Snow, so.
No, all good. All good. This is why we're here.
Yeah, I didn't notice the ones on the top. I thought it was only the one on the bottom. So you might be all set.
Okay. Easy to have them calculate the numbers.
All right, any more questions?
Do we put that in the conditions or?
I think you'd want to see that. We did get this updated plan this week. I have not had time to fully review it as much as I wanted, specifically the rain garden. I need to go check what was in there. I've had the time. I am gonna recommend an operation and
Yeah.
maintenance plan for this project. And that would be at the commission's discretion if you want that in advance or just as part of the plan itself for certificate of compliance is issued. That's something that we're gonna want to follow up on.
How do you feel? How do you feel about it?
I don't have one yet. I don't have. There's one on the plans I'm gonna.
About the timing, do you know? Feel
About
comfortable?
the timing.
Yeah, oh,
I
additional-
like I said, we just got revised plans this week. I haven't had as much time to
Okay,
review them as detailed as I wanted. So like we have the rain garden, but I haven't been able to, actually dive
Ask a
into
question,
it.
Ed, then?
What?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go, I'm sorry.
When are you looking to start the project?
When are you looking to approve the project?
Okay, so, well, that answers my question. So,
I mean,
I would say, based on the forthright nature that they're dealing with us, that we can approve this with the expectation of an O&M plan that needs to be approved by our agent, and allow them to get moving on their project.
what's an O&M plan?
Operation and maintenance plan.
Okay. That's like,
Making sure the check dams are
Yeah, so it's
cleaned
a
out.
it's a document that you're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
have that tells you of what you're supposed to be doing to maintain your rain garden, to maintain your swale,
cool.
especially because you're tying
Like,
into
once
the
it's
drainage
done.
system. And it's it's your document, and then when we're doing regular inspections, I have that document
Yeah.
to see are they doing what they're supposed to, and then we also tie that in with the order conditions at the end, and with your certificate of compliance too, so it's in the deed. So any future property owners have reference to that as well. So then it kind of just keeps everything in compliance, and it's for best for the property owner, for the town, for your neighbors and
Yep.
whatnot.
makes sense.
So the increase of the snow storage area is just,
Well,
No,
I don't
they
know
have
that
to-
Flora understood that there were three
Yeah, no,
areas, and
exactly.
the only one that was called out was at the bottom,
Yeah.
but now it's all
So
the
we
same
all set
hashing.
with that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I would,
Yes. I was like
when
checking.
you brought it up, I was like, I don't see it either, so,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's it.
okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
we-
why I didn't see the other
so we
two,
all
so
set.
it should be fine. Yeah.
Now, this definitely meets the town slope bylaw.
Right at that 12%. You have comments from the fire department just of general safety concerns, but it is a code.
It meets code.
Meets code.
That's all I want to hear.
Just, yeah.
I talked to DPW this morning too, and they've been lovely as well, helping to provide
I'm not looking
guidance.
for help, I'm looking for a fact there.
I do wonder
It's
if
compliant.
Does it?
The answer is yes.
having actually like walked the property, I'm wondering if a wire back silt fence might be more appropriate with the straw bales.
Okay. Anything else?
It's up to the commission this would be, an after the fact or anything. Just the limit of work is not completely clear when you're walking the site as far as, when you're visualizing it of what is going to be gone and open. The stakes that are out there, it could have been labeled a little bit better, but it's, it was a little rough trying to navigate that whole site. And I think that, when you're looking at on a plan, this neighboring house looks like it's pretty far away, but then when you're actually standing there, it feels so much closer. So obviously, we want to do everything we can to kind of protect our resource areas, protect our street, in the best interest of the neighbors as well, to prevent any issues down the road once the site is cleared. It's really hard to, plan what will happen in a project, and then when it's actually cleared, things go different. So having a condition for the stormwater that would just say that if it's not performing, that it needs to, the way that it's planned, that it's going to have to come back to the drawing board. But it's going to be a really tough site because once it's cleared, it's cleared. They said if they're going to have to blast.
Nope.
At all? No. No, they haven't said it, or no, they're not going to.
Don't know.
Okay.
Full basement?
So it's a walkout garage. We did it that way to again minimize disturbance.
Yep.
So it's built into the side of that hill.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Erica,
Is the construction gonna start, like, clearing trees and breaking ground in this year, before winter?
I don't think we know enough to say yes or no.
They have a construction sequence on this
No.
plan?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay.
On the right, bottom right. Yep. I mean, and definitely, like, happy to work with the commission. The one thing we did say in the construction sequence, Aaron, which I think you mentioned, was planting the ryegrass if we do start ahead of time.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say about
Time of year for open site.
tough time of year for open site, but the well can we can't start building until the well is in. The well companies, like, there's 2 in town, and so fall is actually like their slow season. So the only reason I hesitate to say like whether we would want to try to start now or just wait till the spring is their busy season. So us getting on that list for a new well could be the fall anyways, but next year. So the only reason I kind of leave that open is just because if there's a chance we can get approval and get the site cleared, and the well company is in their downtime before the ground freezes, like we will plant that seed, because otherwise we might have to wait till next fall anyways.
Okay.
So
any other questions? Anybody in the audience like to speak to this site?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second that.
Discussion, anybody? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Central money in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Gooder in favor.
And there's no waiver required, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So with regards to the project, SEC number 25-18 at 338 The Trail, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project with the conditions laid out in the agent's detailed agenda and the additional conditions we just discussed tonight, with a request for an operations and management plan that needs to be approved by the agent before closing out the order of conditions. Was there anything else?
Security bond.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's generally in the second motion. Thank you. And we also need a security bond or deposit of money in the amount of $3,500 to be provided before the start of work, and is authorized. The funds will be returned or the bond released upon issuance of a completed certificate of compliance.
Second the motion.
Did that include the reinforced wire, fencing?
We do have,
Check. I thought that was on there anyways.
Yeah.
It does say wire.
we do have a note that says we're gonna be using self-supporting,
Yeah.
silt fence. I'm not
I thought
sure
we
if
had
that's
already
what-
No, it's not the wire back silt fence, but we can note that. We can work that out with them.
All right.
Where are we in our motion? Sorry.
Second it.
You got a second?
Yeah, I did. All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Benjamin in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Gooder in favor.
Awesome.
I just want to say thank you for working so closely with them and taking their notes. It makes things go a lot easier.
It sure
So,
does. They were awesome.
Anybody who's watching this and looking for a project to go well, get Lauren involved quickly.
Yeah. No,
Great.
they were
Great.
awesome.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you. And Glenn. Huge shout out to Glenn.
Anyway,
Wherever he is.
Lindsay, I'm assuming you're gonna wanna pick that up when it's ready?
Yeah. You call me right when it's ready. I'll be done. Thank you.
We're now at 6:20, 251 Arnold Road, notice of intent under the disturbed wetland bylaw, construction of a ground-mounted solar system, and 2519 is the number. All right. How you doing?
Good evening.
We
So,
have proof of legal ad and a butter notification as well for this, sorry.
We all set with that?
You are.
Fantastic. Go ahead.
Louis Latch, resident, 251 Arnold Road. Yep, this is my project. It's pretty much a straightforward. Unfortunately, the home, the roof on it, not enough of it faces the right direction to put roof-mounted solar panels. So we're looking to put a ground mount system in,
Okay.
just slightly down the hill from it.
Just a question out of curiosity, is like a bifacial solar panels? So it doesn't get the reflection also from the ground?
No, it's just the one side. It'll be on an angle mount. Yeah.
No concerns, it was a relatively flat site, utilities are already underground. My recommendation is to approve with the conditions as noted.
All right. Eric, anything?
I have no questions. I think this one's pretty straightforward.
No questions?
No questions, Fleur? Carson, questions? Anybody in the audience like to speak on this subject?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Benjamin in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Gooder in favor.
With regards to the project at 251 Arnold Road, SCC number 25-19, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project with the conditions laid out by the agent in the detailed agenda and a special call out for a security bond or deposit of money in the amount of $1,000 to be provided prior to the start of work, and those funds will be returned or the bond will be released upon issuance of a complete certificate of compliance.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Benjamin in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Gooder in favor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We got it through 4 without a missing DEP file. Because we
got-
had no DEP files through the first 3.
We've got the DEP file for this.
Oh,
Yes,
thanks.
for number 4, we have a DP number.
All right, we're at 640, 22 Goodrich Road. Notice of intent.
39 Adams.
Miss it?
Number 4 is 39 Adams.
And number 4.
Bottom of page 4.
Yep. I'm ahead of myself. I want to get home and see that ball game. Okay, 39 Adams Road, notice of intent. Second floor house addition, DP file number 300-1214.
Oh. You get a special agenda? You have the DEP file number on yours? I don't have it on mine?
She sent it to you too.
Oh.
Just once in a while.
I'm just looking at what I have on my screen here.
We got it the day after.
Oh. Okay.
Hi, my name is Mike Sparrow, Sparrow Contracting. I'm the contractor that's proposing doing the work. This is
Maureen and Michael Savalinsky, 39 Adams Road. Thank you all for your time and energy put into this crazy project.
Also on Zoom, Matt Morrow, the environmental consultant. I'm not sure if his microphone is working. I have him on speaker.
We have him off.
You can have him off.
He has himself
Yeah,
off.
I'm putting the mic on.
It says X next to it.
Yeah, he's muted himself.
I think he muted himself. Oh, there we go.
How's that?
How about that? Is that better? Can you hear me?
Whoa. Technology, what did we do without it?
Okay, I'm gonna hang up with you here now.
Okay.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Michael, you're gonna want to keep me on speaker because I can't hear them.
Oh.
Okay, I'll get you back then.
Can't hear me? 1, 2, 3?
Okay. All right, so bear with me, folks. I apologize because of the technical difficulties. It would appear that the town's microphone isn't working. So the notice of intent was for the addition of a second story to the single-family home as outlined on the plans that were provided by you, that were done by and stamped by Richard Parra. The 25 and 50-foot zones are marked by dash lines on the plan. Don't know if my cursor is working or not, showing on this, but okay,
Yes, it
good.
is.
Thank you very
That's
much.
me.
No,
That's my
Lauren.
cursor. Yeah, you can only see that if he's sharing his screen.
I don't believe it is Matt.
Yeah, he can't drive if
Okay,
he's not.
no, that's fine. No, I can see someone else's cursor moving. So essentially what we have is the house itself, the addition, is not within the 25-foot zone, but the bulk of it is within the 50-foot zone, but it is above the structure of the house. It's a second-story addition, and none of the structure will be on the ground. There were pre-existing structures, for example, a pergola, a walkway, and a fire pit that are on the property that are added to this permit as a retroactive application. So that's basically it at this point. I'm open for questions. DEP made a comment about the de minimis amount of floodplain because it cuts a portion of the fire pit. When I measured that in the field, it was less than 10 square feet. None of the other structures are within the floodplain.
I just want to make a point. The second story addition, there's no footprint changes. It's just going straight up vertically.
All right. Lauren?
Yep, so as this project as stated, this is a vertical addition, which typically we wouldn't really do as a notice of intent, but there are structures that are on this property, specifically within the 25-foot, that were done at some point. So basically, we'd be looking for the commission to act on these as an after the fact and
Matthew.
accept the conditions. There's a paver walkway that's not shown on the plan here, but that leads to the pergola and the fire pit. And also, while we're on the site visit, I mean, the site's very well maintained. We did recommend possibly having a plan revision showing the dock on the plan, just because we know that we're going to start, inventorying docks, so it'd be great to have those on record on a noted plan. It helps them as well when they're gonna have to get any approvals down the road through select board or anything, because you'll need that at some point. And we had also talked if there could be an area dedicated on the site that could just be wetland planting, somewhere on the side yard or something that could just be a designated area, do some plantings there to and just let that be. But it's an old structure. It had a addition at one point in time with a notice of intent that did have a certificate of compliance. So, again, we'd be looking for the commission to accept the plan, if you choose to do that today, or if you want those, things added on the plan and then approve, or however you best want to act on that, to accept the existing conditions and then approve the vertical addition that would not have any impact on the resource area.
So the work that was done outside of the permitting process, was that done while you owned the property, or was it done prior to you?
The property was originally owned by Michael's parents back in '77. They passed away, and it's a family home.
Okay.
And, you know, Michael and I are sort of paying for the maintenance and stuff, and with a plan to hopefully live permanently here.
Okay. And, I mean, given its proximity to the pond, I would think, I like your idea of having some sort of a wetland plant area. I think that we probably should, just because it's so close, it's within the 25 foot, we probably need to incorporate something into this that is a replication event that we can get on there. Do you have any suggestions there?
I know me and Matt had already talked. Now, the right side edge from the fire pit to the shed area along the water's edge there, we had talked about doing blueberry bushes and kind of letting that area grow up naturally.
You've already got some facultative herbaceous growing there. If you add a shrub layer, it would make a good vegetative buffer.
Would that satisfy any concerns that you would have there, Lauren?
I think it
around
would.
that? It just, it's a bad precedent when we have stuff going on that we don't have something that offsets it. Because then we have somebody else saying, well, they were.
Even though his parents did it.
Yeah.
Blame your parents.
It was your parents, it wasn't. But
We all pay for our parents' mistakes. It's okay.
some of us in therapy, but, anyway. You said along the area there, is that where you would prefer to have it there,
Yes.
Lauren? Okay.
That's what we looked at.
And it seems to be an area that's not as used because the dock is down in this area, so I don't live there, but my assumption is, when you're outside, you're kind of occupying more over here and around your fire pit, not as much over in this area, that you'd be able to compromise some of that area for some planting.
Sure. You probably get roughly 30 feet of plantings or natural area right there.
Great.
And then even wrap around the back of the shed right there.
Okay. And Lauren, if we were to move forward with voting this evening without having the adjustments made on the plan, could we condition to have the plans submitted for the certificate of compliance with all of that stuff added to the plan, and would we be within our rights to do so?
Absolutely. I would recommend, I already have recommended an as-built on there, so we can note it in the narrative that those two things will be added onto the as-built as the dock as an existing structure, and then 30 feet of vegetated area that will be added on an as-built, or submitting a landscaping plan in between now and requesting a certificate of compliance.
Yeah, I
Either
just
of those
hate
would be
to hold this up
sufficient.
another 3 weeks if
Yep.
we're looking to approve it for something like that.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Okay. Yep, all right, those are my other questions.
Good.
Laura, you good? Good. I am also. The area that we talked about is this area here. We could put it in that area. I don't know what the distance is.
I think they just mentioned 30 feet
I would
that they
say
can add.
the total length from maybe the corner here to here is probably 50 feet. So I'd suggest if we could stay back a few feet from the fire pit there and then run it, and then even we could go around this edge too if you want.
Actually, I'd rather see the corner, yeah. I'd rather see it from the corner and come back
Something's
this way.
growing in the corner now. There's
It's more out, it's out
trees.
on Double Lake. I mean, it's
So you want it,
both sides.
around here?
Yep.
Maybe like 30 feet by 3 feet?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
All right? Eric, why don't you make a motion?
I
Wait,
would like-
before you do, let me see if there's anybody in the audience that would like to
Sure.
speak.
Can I ask one more thing? So there was the other older existing conditions from, it was like 1978. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Okay.
And we were trying to decide if it was.
I believe
the
Matt,
90s.
I think you did the site visit with Matt Morrow. It was from an older, I'm not sure if you want to bring that up at another meeting. I'm trying to find it right now. For old work that had been done.
I think
think it was like a
determine it was
kitchen.
closed?
We couldn't
Well,
find
it was
a
actually
piece of paper.
under 38.
Okay.
Well, so there was an order of conditions that was issued years ago for an order of conditions issued for an addition to the single-family home. I know the commissioners that visited the site along with staff saw the addition. In fact, we even noted that the step stone for the old doorway is still there. That appears to have been done in compliance. So once this particular file is complete with the plantings and the work and all the stuff that the commission issues in this orders of conditions, I would plan to ask for certificates of compliance on both.
The old order for some reason was under a different address, so I don't know if it's on this deed.
There's 3 plots,
Yeah.
and it's like 39,
Okay.
It would require me
This-
to be a
with-
legal.
Okay.
and at one point, the address was legally 38, and then it became 39.
So I can add to the conditions that, with the
Crazy.
certificate of compliance, also submitting the certificate of compliance for the old order, I'll reference the DEP number, for 38 Adams, so that way that can just kind of get all encompassed.
Right, I think his
And
parents
accept
had the
that
address
as
as
the as-built
38
plan.
Adams, and then we
Got it.
found out, no, it's 39, according to every other legal
And
entity.
just for reference, it's 300-10.
300-10?
10,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Wow.
It was only
Even
10.
predates your time, Ed.
10.
No, it doesn't. Does not.
What? You were on the commission in
Let me see.
1970 something?
No, I
I thought
wasn't.
you were 85.
But I've been out there for work.
Oh,
Or
I don't think Ed's name was on
All
there.
right.
maybe it was the extension on that side.
Does that seem that'll,
Years ago,
Sufficient
there
for
was
you all?
actually another big Victorian, way before Mike's parents, on that property. It's
I know when I went
bizarre
out
piece of
walking around it,
property.
I've been there for something.
so I
In
would
fact,
like to.
I compliment your parents on the millstone.
Yeah, yeah, we
More
have.
comments, but I would like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Sorry, sorry.
That's okay.
Have a second? Second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Centerman in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 39/38 Adams Road, DEP file number 300-1214, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project with the conditions laid out by the agent. Actually, I'd like to withdraw that. I have a question. Because there was work within the 25-foot that we are doing as part of this after the fact, do I need
There
to
is-
ask for a waiver?
there is no waiver. What I'm requesting in place is that the commission vote to accept the existing conditions and unauthorized structures
Okay,
that were put there.
okay. All
You
right,
can put that in your motion, in the same motion, that you can issue the order of conditions and accept the existing conditions as noted on the plan.
okay. So I'd like to start over again. With regards to the project at 39 Adams Road, DEP file number 300-1214, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project with the conditions laid out in the agent's notes and the additional conditions we discussed today, including the as-built that includes the additional items that we discussed, and accepting the conditions that are currently on site of non-permitted work, and lastly, the addition of the 30 by 3 plantings that are going to be done along the, what is that, the north side of the property? So, yeah.
I second that.
With the corner.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Centerman in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regard to the project at 39 Adams Road, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge wetland bylaw with the additional conditions for the use of pesticides and no rock salt, and an additional condition of a security bond or deposit of money in the amount of $1,000, which should be provided before the start of work, and the funds would be returned, or the bond will be released upon issuance of a certificate.
I second that.
I have one question. With regard to the rock salt, is that cul-de-sac, that's a shared,
The cul-de-sac shared.
it's a shared area?
Yes, and I think that the town does plow it.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
The town plows it for safety reasons.
Yeah, no, I'm
The
not.
cul-de-sac, just to the cul-de-sac.
We're
and
saying
then-
no rock salt.
That's in your bylaw.
What, okay.
That's in your
Just
bylaw.
leave it in, okay. All right,
Use rock
Eric
salt.
Gaspar in favor?
Bishop in favor.
Zimmerman in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
and Ed Goodwin in favor. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much for your time.
I'll call you back.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys.
We appreciate you.
No, we'll send you information for all of it. Are you gonna wanna pick up your permit, or do you want that mailed?
I'll pick it up.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Or
everyone.
you can take it.
Thank you, guys.
I'll give it to Mark. He's up there. Bye now.
We're now at 22 Goodrich Road, notice of intent, raise and rebuild of a lakefront cottage, DEP file number 300-1213. Mark Farrell.
I have the proof of butter notification and legal advertisement for this.
Mark.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Mark Farrell and Karen Bauer. We're the property owners at 22 Goodrich Road. And we're going to put the plan up, or?
Working on it.
So basically, this is a raise and rebuild. It's a lakefront lot. There's two lots there, the property line right down the middle here.
I'll just move over to the
For zoning purposes, are effectively combined. We originally, when we bought the property, we were going to renovate it, but what happens is if the renovation is over 1,000 square feet, you have to bring it back up to current code. And this was the original cottage. It was built in the late 50s, early 60s. They put a addition on this in the 70s on this side over here. So to bring that into compliance with current code would be very expensive and difficult. I would have to update the electrical, the insulation, everything, so it's pretty much a rebuild. So we're
Over
just
what percent, Mark? I'm just,
Over 1,000 square feet.
over 1,000 square
Yeah.
feet? Okay.
So if your renovations are over 1,000 square feet, you have to bring everything up to code. Electrical, plumbing, insulation, the whole work. So we're just we'd like to do is to raise it and then rebuild it on the same footprint, the structure. You want to go back to the other side over there? There's also on the second lot, there's a cabana right here. We'd like to remove that and replace it with a garage.
Now move. Stay here.
Right, currently, there's a existing driveway. It's somewhat shared, goes over this property, then it goes over the neighbors. And access to this property has been down this driveway and then around the septic system. And then they drive over here to get their vehicles here. So what we did is we're in contact with the neighbor and we're proposing to come down that driveway, but put a new driveway here that would cut in and then serve the garage and property here, and abandon this way that goes around over here. This is closer to the lake. It's a dirt driveway. It gets rutted in the spring. It's a muddy mess. So, like I said, proposing to take this structure down and rebuild. We're actually going to make it slightly smaller structure than what's there now. There's a lot of decks on this, and so this is actually going to be a smaller structure. We have less square footage in the 50, less square footage in the of structure, in the buffer zone and on the lot as well. So the structure will be more compliant with zoning and less within the 50-foot and less within the 100-foot. There's a couple areas, there's some tree removal right in here. This is where the corner of the garage is. This is another dwelling right here. These are all older trees. Some of them are dead. They're kind of competing there, not doing very well. There's a beautiful old oak tree that's up in here. So these would be compromised by putting the garage here. Also, what we're going to do is to put eliminate the septic system. The septic system's in this area. It's going to be pumped across the street to a shared system that's on a lot across the street that's over 100 feet from any wells in the lake. So this line here would compromise these trees as well as the garage. So we're proposing to take down this cluster of trees here. Also, adjacent to this house, there's some more trees in here that are tall pines that overhang the house, and some of them are dead. They're crowded in there, proposing to take those out and then leave the understory, which is mountain laurel and whatever else is in there, just leave that. So not going to be converted to lawn.
What about the arborvitae?
The arborvitae, we could leave that one.
Yeah.
There's one arborvitae right in here.
Right. Yeah. Nice tree. It's an old one.
It is an old one.
Yeah.
It's probably as old as the house is, from the 60s.
As soon as they had two neighbors, they put the arborvitae in to get.
That's true.
They couldn't see each other.
Actually, they were best of friends. One was electrician, the other was the plumber.
Oh, really?
So that's how they end up with a shared driveway. So the people who live here now are the daughter of the original owner of this cottage. Down on the shorefront, there's some trees down here. This one is dead. These are landscape trees. I think they're white spruce, and they're basically not doing very well at all. And the shore is actually lined with herbaceous natural vegetation. It's speckled alder, sweet pepper bush, and high bush blueberry. And those would all remain, and we're asking to take these down, but not remove the stumps, just leave them level with the ground and keep this shorefront vegetation that exists right here. There's one more tree. This tree right here is a towering pine, and its canopy extends over the building, and it just drops its load of pine needles and debris on the roof, and so we're asking to remove that one as well. We're going to there's an existing well here, and we're going to continue to use that. And I think the DPW had a comment about erosion. Goodrich Road doesn't really have a very good drainage system. So a lot of the stormwater from Goodrich Road finds its way down here. There's a culvert that goes underneath the driveway, and then there's a rock swale. It drops into this little pit here, and then it goes in a culvert pipe and discharges into the lake. So we're not going to interrupt that. We're not going to add to it. Going to leave that in place. I think the DEP also asked what's going to happen to that culvert, but we're just going to leave it. The driveway, it's deep. It's probably 4 to 5 feet below grade here. So, and it's a corrugated metal pipe. There's no reason why you couldn't just go over it and leave it in place.
Last go around, we had a hell of a time finding it, if I remember correctly.
Excuse me?
It was so deep, we had trouble finding it.
Well, over the years, what's happened is this pit has filled with sediment from Goodrich Road. So you can't, once it gets buried, you can't see it. And the same thing with the outlet. It's kind of right at the edge of the water, and the waves and cover the outlet, so, but everybody knows where it is.
You're on.
Overall, there's a reduction in footprint. We've discussed some of the trees for removal, but there were also 2 pines approximately somewhere over here in this area that I had recommended should probably get removed because it's going through the power lines, and I think that it would be an improvement, help the other trees that are around it. It's very vegetated in this area, but it'll help those other trees in that area succeed. So I, in my notes, have those 2 trees added on. Overall, going back to the notes from the DPW, I think that having that paved driveway and having that pitched so that way it turns into that riprap area is going to be an overall improvement to the site and help with the erosion issues that are all over Goodrich. But I think that this is a great project.
All right, Eric?
So my only questions are the trees that are being taken down right within the 25-foot and being replaced with the red maple and the high bush blueberries. Is it a 1-for-1? Is there room for more down there? I'm just curious. I apologize, I was unable to make the site visit. I don't know what there's practically room for those replacements. So do we have any documentation of that? I was looking at the photos. I couldn't tell.
Oh, I can find.
So it's pretty heavily vegetated down there. There's the arborvitae, Ed. So this is the area right in here. So this is all under the canopy, but that tree's dead. This is an old Christmas tree or ornamental tree. It's not native. This area down here is about 2 feet above the water table. So I think that's why these trees are dying. One of them is a red pine, and I don't know what's getting the red pines, but something's killing them. But we could replant this area with high bush blueberries. They would do well in there. You could put 1 red maple in there. That would be a plant that could have its roots wet and thrive in that environment.
So if we're pulling out 4 trees, can we have a combination of, would there be room for 2 red maples and 6 blueberry bushes in there? Would it be the 2 to 1?
I would say 1 red maple in the middle here, because this is heavily vegetated over here. You can't really tell, but this outer part of the canopy would get light, but on the inside it's all into the woods.
Okay. Well,
So maybe 1 red maple and
7 blueberries?
Yeah.
Keep our 2 to 1 ratio
Yeah.
down there? Okay. And what about the pine that's just outside of the 25? Is that, that looked like it had plenty of other things around it, that it doesn't necessarily need to
Those
be.
ones are all up top.
If you go to the plan, it was the one he was pointing out, it was just outside of the 25, the one that was overhanging the property.
this one right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
It looked to me as if there was enough stuff in there that it didn't need to be replaced necessarily, and it might, but I wanted to get your opinion on that, Lauren, before.
There's a lot of younger growth in that area. We did look carefully at that tree, but it's
Putting a replacement in
It's on its way
there
out.
wouldn't serve an additional purpose, is my
no,
question.
it would not.
Okay.
It will probably favor, removing it will favor the.
Right,
other
yeah,
trees.
exactly. Okay, then, all right.
So this area too is it's all mountain laurel in there, so we would just leave that,
Yeah.
and that's just, it's old mountain laurel that's kind of growing on the understory.
Yeah. No, I'm good with that. I was curious more than anything else since I wasn't on site, so I'm good, Ed.
Okay.
I'm good.
You good? All right, anybody in the audience like to speak to this? How about
I would like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second that.
a discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Saint Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 22 Goodrich Road, I'd like to make a motion to provide a waiver for disturbance within the 25-foot no disturbance zone.
I second that.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Saint Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 22 Goodrich Road, DEP file number 300-1213, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project with the agent's conditions laid out in the detailed agenda and the additional condition of the 2-to-1 plantings with a little bit more clarity of 1 red maple and 7 high bush blueberries down in that replacement area inside of the 25.
And leave the laurel and the arborvitae on.
There you go. Leave the laurel and the arborvitae, yes.
I second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Saint Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. Thanks, Mark.
With regards, well, give me one more. With regards to the project at 22 Goodrich Road, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw, to include all the conditions laid out above in the previous motions, an additional motion or additional condition about the use of pesticides, no use of rock salt, and a security bond or deposit of money in the amount of $6,000 to be provided before the start of work, and those funds will be returned or the bond will be released upon a issuance of certificate of compliance.
I second that.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Saint Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Thank you very much. One question. The bond, is that, I have no problem with it.
Mark, I'll get you through that.
What's that?
I'll help you get through that. It's just a contract and you just bring me a check and then you can start work.
Okay.
Thank you very
much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Great plan.
Whose clicker is this?
I think it stays on the
No, it stays there.
Did I just say that you're continuing the next one?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He has the next project, so he's gonna sit for a second.
All right. 188 Shepherd Road?
180 Shepherd Road.
80 or 88?
188.
188 is what I have, yeah. Shepherd Road, notice of intent, renovation and additions to single-family home, DEP file number 300.
We don't have one.
We don't have one.
There are two things. We don't have a DEP file number, and two is, when I first originally talked to the owners on this project, they were going to renovate. But the same issue they had is it's over 1,000 square feet. So to bring that up to current code and all the modifications, they just decided to raise and rebuild.
You're kidding me.
So I need to just adjust the plans to reflect that.
Okay. Yeah, we need a full plan anyway. That was one of the things we were gonna ask you for.
So the
Yeah.
plan will change completely.
A full what?
The plan will completely change.
Well, we'll change
will
from
completely
the request will change from a renovation to a raise and rebuild, and the plan. will
Originally, it was
reflect
gonna be just, I thought it was add this in, but they're gonna rebuild on the same footprint, same foundation. They're just going to add this part of the foundation here and this one over here. So it's gonna be in the same place, but they're gonna remove the old house. So I had originally filed it as, I don't know pardon?
Renovation under.
Yeah, renovation.
Category 1.
Yeah, category 1, and it's a category 3, so I need to adjust the fees, I need to adjust the application to DEP.
Is one meeting enough, Mark, to our next meeting? Okay.
Sure?
24th of October.
What's that?
Sure, one is enough?
Yeah, they want to get going, so
Okay.
I have to, we've already talked to DEP, and she said to revise the plans and then resubmit them to her, but,
I spoke with her as well. She said
With
we'll just wait for it before she gets issued anything.
All right.
With regards to the
I don't
project
know
at
if you wanna
188 Shepherd Road, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until October 24th.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Saint Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
You go, Mark.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
What was the date she
You're on number 8,
Next one.
1 Old Sturbridge Village. Continue the public hearing for notice of intent. And we have a continuance on that?
Correct.
Written request for continuation till October 24th.
October 24th.
With regards to the project at 1 Old Sturbridge Village Road, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until October 24th.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Saint Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. That's it.
Same with the next project, written request for continuation until October
1
24th.
Old Sturbridge Road, notice of intent to raise and rebuild of a horse barn with the site work, including tree removal, DP file number 300-1211.
With regards to the project at 1 Old Sturbridge Village Road, DP file number 300-1211, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until the 24th of October.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Saint Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor. Now, yeah. 328 The Trail. Continued notice of intent, construction of 2 cantilever dock and repair of shoreline, well, DP file number 300-1182. Back. Where do you want to start?
There's no new documentation, no new information, so it's picking up where we left off last meeting.
So what did the Board of Selectmen say?
The select board will not be taking any action on permanent docks at this time. And said conservation, 25-foot jurisdiction, they leave to conservation.
So my position hasn't changed since last meeting. I think that, this project in this case, though I would like to have some direction from the Board of Selectmen, overall is a better solution than dragging docks in and out twice a year. So I think that this is a worthwhile project. I understand the concerns around the impact of the 25-foot, but if we can improve the conditions inside of the lake, I think that's a reasonable offset, and the applicant has worked to make some slight adjustments on our notes, so I think it's a project that we can approve under the circumstances that we have in front of us.
I'll second that.
Well,
I
is there a
haven't
motion?
I haven't made a motion yet.
No.
I was just giving my
Second is
opinion,
comment.
right?
Similar comments.
I agree with it.
Yeah.
So you agree with the opinion?
Yeah.
I cannot vote on this one, but I was doing some research on different types of docks that I had no idea before. And these type of cantilever docks seem to be better for the lake than floating docks. And so I cannot vote.
So-
I think it's a good option.
So is this the first dock which has these 2 docks basically in the lake, or did we have docks like this before?
Yeah, we have 2 other double docks that we've already done on the lake.
Cantilever docks.
Cantilevered.
And they were improved. And they were approved.
They were approved, yeah.
I mean, I would like to have some consistency somehow.
Well, that-
in
yeah.
our. And so the question is, if somebody comes with 3 docks now, would that be too much, or where do we draw the line?
I think the tough part we're stuck with, Karsten, right now is that if the select board isn't going to take on this issue, we're kind of stuck to
No, but we could-
evaluating whether or not they want to replace that with docks that can be pulled in or out, or do cantilever. And I'm doing the I'm doing the balancing act here and saying, I can't, we have no say over the temporary docks that go in and out. We do have some say here, and I think this is an improvement. So I think overall, we're being more responsible with the watershed.
So you would say any dock, even if it's 5 docks, would be?
We would still
No.
have to consider
Because-
consider the overall alteration to the bank and making sure that it was below performance standards, which is a recommended of 10% or 50 feet, depending on the frontage of the lake.
So this is below.
That's a good comment. I just, Carson, it's a good question and good comment. I'm working under the impression that the Board of Selectmen already allowed 2 temporary docks in there, right, under their purview. So they would continue to allow 2. They would not allow 3, 4, or 5.
No, wait, but it seems to me that there is no regulation for temporary docks whatsoever, right?
There are the the select board is the harbor master for temporary docks. DEP is the harbor master for permanent docks. And according from the opinions from council, the select board cannot be the harbor master for permanent docks.
Okay, but so the way it works at the moment is the Board of Selectmen doesn't seem to have any restrictions on
They do, there's
temporary docks.
there
and then
are,
they
it's
come,
just not.
but then they come to us and said, oh,
Well,
what are these
let's just go with a couple things. We know where this is going, and we can finish it up, but there's a lot of confusion here, and I want to just give you a little, okay, work and activity within 200 feet of a wetland and a resource area should be avoided and discouraged, and reasonable alternatives pursued. Accordingly, the Conservation Commission shall begin with the presumption that the land within 200 feet of a resource area previously discussed in this section, which, was any, are best left in an undisturbed natural state. Now, that's one thing. Second thing is that we have 25 feet, no disturb buffer zone for new construction. 25 feet, no additional disturbance allowed for reconstruction. Projects result in better conditions for resource areas based on scientific evidence of being, confusing my mitigation required for any new work now, if you take a look at that, go back to that slide, because that was the one I wanted to talk to you.
Hold on.
There we go.
Okay. Now,
I'm just pulling the side by side up of the existing, just for reference.
so
Do we by any chance have pictures of the other docks?
can I just, this is the one I want right here. Okay. This, Eric, is 10 feet wide. This is not a dock, this is a patio on the water. You are gonna say, the next time somebody comes in, that they can do 10 feet wide, because that's the Eric motto, right?
So what was the other?
This is already
State
here.
regulations that we're following, we're well underneath the regulations set forth by the state.
What was the other
We're
docks?
working within the existing footprint, Ed, right? Is there an expansion of the temporary dock that's out there already on the one that's off to the side?
No expansion,
It's the same footprint,
same footprint.
right?
Footprint meaning into the hill here. This
Underneath the existing deck.
Yeah, so this is all going to be excavated, and I-beams are going to be put in. And how many, within the 6-foot wide dock, how much cement is necessary? Tons.
I don't have the I provided those
So
at
it's
the
pretty,
beginning.
4,000. If I looked at it,
How much did you have to add for that 32-foot by 6-foot dock that you did in January?
The one that's for, that we're going to do?
The one
we
that
got-
just got the
Those are 91s.
waterway license.
Those are 6 foot wide and they're 12 foot back.
And that was 32 feet wide
Yeah, and what was the? how much
and 6
time
feet
was
long.
that for one of those?
It's 8 yards, so it's roughly 32,000 pounds, I believe, something right in that
Yeah.
area.
Now, the building inspector has nothing to do with this,
Right.
right? So you're doing it on your own, right? You're the
Correct.
only, nobody is overseeing you.
That's how they've all been.
Yeah.
If
That makes
you
it
want
right.
me to go to the building inspector, I'll go to the building inspector.
No, I'm just concerned, no, I'm not making a statement like that now.
Mhm.
Don't, but as a town, what would you say? If you had a lakefront house and your neighbor put this in?
Well, we've done 1, 2, I think 5 on this lake already.
Yeah.
Every abutter has been certified notice. We've never heard anybody make a complaint or have an issue with it. So as far as I know, the neighbors are fine with it.
Yeah.
And I think we've adjusted as we've started doing these docks. Now we're completely making the counterweights invisible below ground so they can be, this one's different because there's an existing deck. But everything that we've come, the last two,
We also have a
we're
stone
trying to-
wall that's falling into the lake that needs to be repaired, and we've been here 3 or 4 times, kicking the can down the road.
that's the other thing that we've done is the first ones that we were doing, the cement block, the counterweight, was at the water's edge. We've now moved those back 3 or 4 feet and put the boulders or whatever in front, so we're further away from
Right,
the
no,
water.
I agree with that. So I'm not, that isn't my
Yeah.
issue. My issue is that we are, we're tearing up the lakeside. And, so it's
There's
just,
got to be a level of reason associated with that. The counterbalance to that is we're not tearing up the lake floor twice a year, and this is if I remember correctly, a 25 or 30-year structure, right? So you're talking about it going in and out. I'm not a fan of touching the 25 foot. That's why I need to have some sort of alternative. And my understanding is, and Flora validated that by doing some additional research, which is nice, thank you. But, I think the overall net impact of this, in absence of any outside guidance and with the acknowledgement that if he wanted to go get temporary docks, we'd have no say in the matter, right? And that additional disturbance and harm to the lake floor
that's a
is
hyperbole.
enough for me to
We
get
do
to
have
that
a,
point.
we don't have a say, but the selectmen are supposed to have a say in the matter. They're supposed to be doing it. and they're not.
I understand that, but we can't control them, and I think, in this case, I can get there because
Well,
I
let me
think
ask
the
you a question.
overall, over 25 years, is
Why
a
does this
net
have to be
improvement.
10 feet wide? Why couldn't
It's
it
already
be
10, it's right within the existing footprint of what it is at.
There's-
If it was,
No, it
if we
isn't.
were
It wasn't
expanding
10
and going
feet wide
wider,
before.
There's one dog, right?
Well, there is a
The other
double,
one's
but it's
on the-
not in the
It's not.
picture.
Well,
Yeah.
It's on the beach.
It is.
Over here.
Oh, okay. Okay. I mean,
it's the exact same footprint as it was before.
I mean, my thing is if we allowed it before, then that doesn't seem to.
We didn't have to allow it, that's the
No, no,
problem.
no,
Like, the select board approved those docks.
No. But we approved cantilever docks like this before.
Oh, in other cases, sure, yes.
Correct.
Yeah, that's, you can,
The other thing-
you can do a little research on that and bring them back to me, and we'll look at them and see what's on them. Can we
No, but
make a motion, Eric?
Is
But
there
that-
any, if there's no other comments, I would like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
But then I
I
think
have
we
a
have to
second?
approve of it.
What?
We have to, I mean, there has to be some consistency.
No, there doesn't. There actually doesn't. Do we have a second?
A second.
Discussion?
I will.
I've made my points. I don't have anybody in the audience like to speak on this?
You already closed.
Ready?
Yeah, okay, all right.
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
I have to
I
be,
can vote.
I have to be in favor too.
You, okay, I'm opposed.
This is just for closing the public hearing.
Closing the
now.
public hearing, yeah.
You can't vote.
Yep.
Closing
Floor
the public
abstain.
hearing, and you're opposed to closing the public
Right,
hearing.
yeah.
One against his word.
Yeah.
Do we have, do we have have we closed that vote?
Yes. Motion carries.
With regards to the project at 328 The Trail, I'd like to make a motion to provide a waiver for the disturbance within the 25-foot no disturbance zone.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin opposed.
With regards to the project at 328 The Trail,
Need some
DEP file number 1182, I'd like to make a motion to approve
No,
the
we need to
project
protect the lake.
with the
Nobody-
conditions laid
Can we
out
sidebar
by
this
the
later,
agent
please?
in the detailed agenda.
I second that.
Discussion? Seeing none?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin opposed.
With regards to the project at 328 The Trail, I'd like to make a motion under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw to approve the project with the previous agreed to conditions laid out in the detailed agenda and an additional condition for a security bond or deposit in the amount of $5,000 to be provided before the start of work, and the funds will be returned or the bonds will be released upon issuance of a certificate of compliance.
I second that.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin opposed. All right,
You have to get your beer.
that's it.
Do you want to pick that up or have it mailed?
I'll pick it up.
All right, I'll let you know when it's ready.
Thank you.
Can I just ask, thank you, I appreciate it. Can I just ask a question about the bond?
Sure.
Yeah.
The last two that we did, it was a $2,000 bond, and now they're up to $5,000?
We have a more concrete formula that we go based off of now. So it's
They just
trying to
saw
be
a whole house
consistency
being
for
done
everything.
$6,000. So it's like,
It's about the amount of ground disturbance and the
okay,
proximity
no,
of
that's,
the
I'm just
lake.
trying to understand. All right, thank you.
I would be happy to pay the bond.
Thank you.
All right.
Now, he wants to create a fuss about it.
So we are now at what, number 10?
Correct.
All right.
We have a
274 Big Elm Road. Continued?
Well, yeah, finish reading it, but yes.
Okay, continued notice of intent, repair of historic boat notch, DP file number 300-1186.
The applicant has requested a continuance to October 24th.
All right.
With
Will
regards,
she get some plan?
Yes, for continuation. That's what we're here for.
with regards to DEP file number 300-1186, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until October 24th.
I second that.
Excuse me, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber,
Floor cannot vote.
oh,
Yep, Floor needs to abstain.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
You can still do the roll call and just say abstain, if that makes it,
Okay, so it's not.
might make it easier for notation purposes.
Do,
I know that she's not.
that you're not, you know, that you can't do it.
But she can
You make it
publicly
louder.
abstain for policy.
Excuse me. We're now at 469 Main Street, notice of intent for construction of a new gravel trail and pedestrian walk bridge, DEP file number 1212. And that's,
Requested continuance.
all right. Now, could you bounce that fence off of them, see if they can get that on the...
I'm gonna
plan?
talk, yeah, I'm gonna talk to Tom and to Aaron,
Yeah, okay.
Aaron's right there.
their engineer.
Oh. With regards to the project at 469A Main Street, DP file number 300-1212, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until October 24th. Is that the request? Okay.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
German in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. All right. We are now
Did you do
at
24th or did he November?
241
This one's November.
and 245 Main Street, continuation of a public hearing, the notice of intent.
We're up one more, 12,
12.
Did I
263 New Boston Road.
miss that?
It's at the very bottom of the page.
Oh, okay, I missed them on the bottom of the page. 263 New Boston Road, continuation of a public hearing and notice of intent, construction of a single-family house with associated appurtenances, DEP file number 300-1166.
I received this prior to the meeting, this hearing. I, Glenn Kurvosky, requested continuance for the 263 New Boston Road project. We have located and employed a hydrogeologist after looking for 6+ months to analyze the 10.4 acre site and how it has been affected, drained by the former gravel pit directly to the west of the subject property. We request a continuation to the November 14th meeting. In addition, we will re-advertise and notify the abutters before the continued meeting. Thank you.
Well, I was going to ask if we could ask for that, so do we need it to be legally advertised?
At this point in time, there's no active policy in place, so, but it is great that they're willing to do that without being asked, and I would
let's
I would
put that-
recommend approving.
Okay.
Let's put that in the continuance.
Well, with regards to the project at 263 New Boston Road, DP file number 300-1166, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until the 14th of November, with the condition that the applicant re-notifies the butters and also places a corresponding legal ad.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
Ned Goodwin in favor. Now,
Floor, can we,
Can you read?
Oh, I cannot.
no,
This one.
this one or the next one, can you revoke and abstain?
I revoke and abstain.
Thank you. Next
you
one,
had to
please do
revoke,
that
you
as
couldn't
well.
just revoke, huh? 241 and 245 Main Street, continue, public hearing, the notice of intent. Paving of a commercial parking lot, DP file number 1184.
Written request for a continuance to November 14th.
When's the last time we had any action on this whatsoever?
I think it was approximately 1 year.
Is this the Army Corps of Engineer was the problem? Or?
Yeah.
So did they solve that or?
No.
is-
I've talked to Army Corps as well.
So then,
Are they doing anything?
Things are kind of in limbo for personal reasons with the applicant.
for
Oh, with
personal
the
reasons,
applicant? Is that what
We're
it
not in a
says?
holding pattern because of the Army Corps, is then.
There was just some things that had to be worked out, that had to be presented. Nothing's been presented at this time. It's kind of been a phone tag situation between Army Corps, the applicant, the engineer, and
So you don't have
roundtable.
anything specific?
not that I can disclose publicly.
Why would you not be able to disclose it?
For personal medical. Can't disclose that on public.
Um,
Well, we've got,
I mean,
he's parking more and more trucks down
well,
there.
I mean, the bigger problem is like it's just clogging up the system, and we don't. This is the perfect example of why we need. The abutters aren't going to be paying attention to this,
Right.
and then we're going to all of a sudden get a plan, and abutters not going to be able to come and speak on it.
You can still request that,
Huh?
and I can put that policy back on the next agenda. I know we temporarily wanted to put that on hold for a little while, but I would recommend that you make that as a stipulation of
that
the
it needs to be a
continuance.
policy. I'm just saying that I don't see any reason to continue this without any additional information, and I think we probably expressed that to some extent. I was the one who pushed to keep it going because of the activity with the Army Corps, But if we're not getting any, if we're not getting any movement out of the Army Corps, I don't know what we're doing here. We're just in the swirl.
It is within your authority if you want to close. You don't have to grant the continuance. It is within your authority if you want to close and, issue the denial, or you can issue a continuance with the stipulation that they re-advertise, or you can give them one more outreach that we say if you don't attend the meeting on the 4th that the commission would like to act.
I mean, I don't want you to disclose those personal reasons, but are they reasonable? In the sense that...
I'm not the one to make that call.
No, but if you would hear about it, would we normally say, okay, we wait?
I think it would be the amount of times that it's happened. But I'm not living in someone's personal life, so I can't. I wouldn't be comfortable saying, yes, or, whether or not things are being fabricated or not. It's just not within what I would feel, ethically, I wouldn't feel responsible making the judgment call of saying that, but of whether it was reasonable. But
could we issue something like a warning?
Absolutely.
I mean, could we say
You
that?
can say, you can issue a continuance with a stipulation, grant the continuance and say that the commission wants to act on this, and if you don't attend the next one, the commission's going to act.
Would that be something that would?
I mean, you know me, I don't want to be punitive, but it's bothering me that this is just sitting in, just over and over and over and over and over again. I would like to make a request that I will make a motion to continue the public hearing with regards to DEP file number, what number are we talking about?
300-1184.
300-1184, with the stipulation that if or with the request of the applicant showing up at the meeting on November 14th to provide a detailed update on what's going on with this project, or a re-issuance of abutter notifications and legal advertisement would be required for any continued meeting.
Just so I can communicate it properly, would you be open to having a written explanation
In
for that?
person.
Got it.
I want it in person, I want an agent, or I want the applicant here to explain what's going on here.
I will reach out.
Well,
I would like to ask questions.
we haven't decided that. Eric just stated that.
Well, that's my motion.
Yeah.
You can deny my motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, my instincts tell me that Craig has us sitting, and he's using the site for what he wants to use it for, and and that's what he's doing.
So, I agree.
If I have your car and I'm driving it around, you can write me a letter all you want. I'm just going to keep driving your car.
Right, so then the remedy that we have is if we deny the project on the 11th and then issue a enforcement order to start to correct some of the issues that we know are currently on site, they're just not being dealt with. I think that that's probably the next logical step in this to cure the issue that is, improper usage of that land that was supposed to be cured by this NOI, but it has not been.
So add your intuition is to deny the project, I know.
No, I'm just discussing, and I want.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
And what you've said is good, but tell me exactly what you think you're going to do at the next meeting that's going to change something.
I don't know that anything's going to change, but so if he doesn't show up, I'm not going to request or make a motion for somebody else can, for another continuance. I will make a motion to deny the project in full.
Good.
But there could be reasonable circumstances that the applicant could bring or their agent could bring that would open up this dialogue, but this just punting it down the road is just not, It's just not working for any of us at this point.
What's working for him?
Well, but it's not working for the abutters, it's
Okay.
not working for the town, and it's not working for us.
Okay, all right. You have a second?
I second that.
Yeah. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
Ed Gooder in favor. Okay. We're on to additional wetlands decisions, 67 Beach Avenue, tree removal.
Joe, I was talking about you the other day. Had a fish fan that was at the Dover show that I asked you about last meeting, and,
Yeah.
and I was telling him about your book and your garb. So
So we've been here a couple times to discuss these trees. Of the 8 removed, there was 1 in question. 4 of the 5 members have now seen the tree, so I'm requesting that you all just make a decision.
I did make one adjustment with Lauren regarding one of your concerns about trying to see more planting there, so I put down a tree and then additional shrubs, and I gave her a list, and apparently that's okay with her, but that was to address one of the issues you had had.
I appreciate that, Joe. Lauren, is the additional planting, is the tree itself substantial enough to provide us something that would over time cure the loss of taking that tree down, in your opinion?
Which tree are we talking about? The one,
The one that's overhanging the dock.
The one that was leaning on the water.
so you want,
I don't want, I was just looking for an alternative.
okay.
It won't get that big. The red maple won't get as big as the white pine. On its size.
Well,
Winterberry, chokeberry, spicebush, northern arrowwood, American cranberry bush, hobblebush, nannyberry. I feel like I'm just making up words.
So are we
What are
talking,
you talking about, miniature stuff?
you're talking a small bush for a big tree or what?
Those are shrubs that are in 1-gallon containers. That's the size that they're going in the ground. And they'll eventually get 10, 12 feet tall if you let them.
Well,
And a maple.
And a tree, right?
Maple's a tree, right,
bushes and a tree.
correct.
So the tree
Of
that
eight total, the request is for 8 total to be removed.
Okay. And what is the total, so we have 8 that are coming out, and what are the total replacements for all of them?
6 shrubs and 1 tree. Am I reading your email correctly?
So most of the trees were dead, right?
Yeah, 4 of the hemlocks are really in the understory.
Then the one near the,
Bent pine is the only one that's noted as healthy. The others are,
right, the one is near the gazebo, right?
yeah, the one by the gazebo that's had numerous branches fall
Right,
and
so-
did damage to the gazebo already.
So so the dead trees don't need to be replaced.
The dead trees, there needs to be some replacement for the other 7.
So how much do we have replacement for the other 7s?
Right now, there's 7 things replaced, 7 proposed replacements.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring my chainsaw up to your house, while Manish is not around, and we're gonna cut down one of your trees, and we're gonna put a little bush next to it.
But the dead trees I don't mind, right? So there's a 1-to-1.
Yeah, 7 dead
Correct.
trees.
Of the 7, there's a 1-to-1.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and I had no issue with the 7. I brought this to the commission because of the one by the pine, the one by the lake.
And that replacement would be 6 bushes and 1 maple.
Well, the 7 is for would be
Whole thing.
for the 8. So either you grant the 7 or you grant the 8 with the replacement of 7, or
Wait a minute, so I thought the replacement is for this one. So-
this was the replacement plan for all activity on the site.
And so the one maple is just for this huge pine that's healthy. That's just the replacement for that.
Correct. That's the only space there is for that one tree. Right.
But you could also wait and replace it later, because it's a healthy tree.
I didn't understand, pardon?
You could also wait and
Wait to cut down the pine and
Oh, but then the risk isn't being reduced at all. The reason the person wants the tree down is to reduce the risk the tree presents. So leaving it in place and planting an understory tree and waiting would not alleviate the reason he wants the tree down.
the tree would fall kind of in the lake.
Yes, the concern is not the falling of the tree. It's the amount of branches that extend and are directly over a high-use area. It's not like the tree is not gonna, I mean, it could, but that's not what I see is gonna happen. It's just, what's gonna happen, the tree's gonna continually fall apart and break and damage what's below it. I mean, I don't know if you had an opportunity to read what, okay.
No, but I saw the tree, so.
Right, but if you read what I wrote, maybe it would make what you saw make more a sense, maybe. I would hope.
So how big is going to be this oak that is going to be planted?
Red maple.
Sorry, maple. Sorry. That is going to be planted.
It's going to be whatever, like a 2-inch caliper tree. You got to understand, when you plant a replacement tree, when you plant a tree, and you look at, say, 10, 12 years down the road, okay, that's important, and you put in a tree that's about 1 inch in diameter and take care of that tree, it'll adapt to where you put it in within a year. If you put in a huge tree, 6 inches in diameter, it'll be instantly bigger, but it'll take 6, 7, 8 years to adjust. Within 12 years, the trees will be the same size. So it's a misnomer to think the larger the tree, the better.
No, what I would like to see is like the maintenance of the tree. So because like usually when like the trees are younger, also like it requires more of work from the owner to take care of it, water.
Yeah, I mean, if that tree is in such a high visibility use area, they're not going to let it die.
And the other thing is the proximity. So where it's going to be planted, it has to have the same service that it currently has to the lake in terms of when it grows to the mature height. Thank you. Provide the shade into the water. That is what is currently providing the other tree. So in terms of the distance and the height.
So that was essentially my question, Joe. I need something offset and a timeline to get there. Because let's assume we got a healthy tree that's probably got 20.
I don't know.
30.
It all depends on how you determine what the adequate benefit to the resources.
Give me some reasons that as a counterbalance. I'm not,
You provide shades that cools the water, and
Right.
How long till the replanted tree will essentially provide a comparable amount to shade as to what is being there now?
Serious. 10 years. How is anyone supposed to answer that question?
I don't.
You just estimated that 2 trees planted at the same time will be the same height in 12 years.
Right, but I mean, what the impact of that tree is on the lake now in terms of where it is, the aspect, how far it is from the lake, east side, west side, what kind of tree it is. I mean, what impact that's going to have on the lake. 10 years, it'll have an adequately impact to make up for the loss of the tree. How about if we word it like
I'm
that?
not trying to be sarcastic, Joe.
Well, I know it's like a question I can't answer. How about that answer? In 10 years...
I got an 80-foot tree, is roughly 80 foot, is that what is in there right now?
Yes.
Roughly? Give or take, right?
Yeah.
Just looking at aspects, right?
Yeah.
And this red maple that you're putting in, and I got an 80-foot tree that's going to fall, let's call it in 20 years. You're putting in a 2-inch caliper red maple tree that is going to be how high when it matures in, let's call it 20 years?
Okay, but
When that
are you saying 20 years now or
When that tree would
mature,
have
two different
fallen-
things?
When that tree would have fallen on, I'm looking for, if you plant a tree today and it's well taken care of, that tree is gonna be there still standing in 75 years.
Correct.
All right? So this is what I'm trying to learn. If you put in a brand new tree that's gonna be there for 75 years versus that white pine that is there right now is probably going to be dead in 20 years, we're picking up 55 years of advantage, because if that falls in the lake by its own, we have no jurisdiction over it, right? So this is what I'm trying to understand, and I've been frustrated because I have no clarity onto what is the offset. What you're basically asking is, it's unsafe, I'm gonna pull it out, and you're not telling me what the replacement is and what that's going to do to help the lake.
Well, we're
Right.
planting a red maple tree there.
Okay.
I mean, that's
I
gonna
get
provide
that, but
shade.
Is that red maple tree going to stop growing at 40 feet? Is it going, I don't know about the specific species of plants and what it's going to give us.
I mean, it's
from
the
a
best we
canopy
can
standpoint.
offer to mitigate the removal of the tree, is to plant a shade tree there. I don't know what else we could plant. I would be open to suggestions.
I generally like red maple better than pines, but you would cut it and you wouldn't take out the stump, right? The stump you can't take out in this area. We'll just cut.
I think the stump we're leaving in that case.
But you have
correct.
to leave it, right? I mean, okay. And then you would put the pine, the red maple next to it?
Somewhere near there,
Right, so
where
that,
there's a suitable planting spot, right? I mean, you saw, it's not that big a space back there. So
Right, so
there's a space for a tree.
so then you.
And then in 20 years, are they gonna come back and say the red maple is a threat to the dock?
Right.
Possible, they could.
Can they move the dog?
We've spent a lot of time talking on this.
Yeah,
tree.
let's
Can
move
we-
this.
You move the lake?
We really are only talking about one thing, cutting down the existing pine with no solution as to how we can mitigate that's economical in the short term. Or, put in a red maple, or, that's the only.
My only concern, I still have no bit greater clarity today than I have for the past, how long ago did I go there with
I
you?
don't know, how is this
3-4
different than
months
any
ago?
other tree that you approve being removed? Are you?
It is
have a
right
replacement?
on the water.
Right.
No, it's right on the water and it's healthy. That's
The
what
other
difference is.
alternative
Right,
would
but
be
it's
to apply for this as an RDA instead of a tree removal permit.
A what?
You can file it as an RDA, but I'd rather just,
I think
we're
we
gonna
should
have the
just
same discussion, so, as I stated, the other 7 trees I had no issue with. I weighed you all in on this final, so I would just request if we can decide if it's gonna be 7 or if it's gonna be 8.
Can you help guide me? We put I'm just asking for your opinion, not for you to tell me what you would decide. Does this tree provide us better long-term protection for the lake as it stands, or would a replacement provide better long-term protection for the lake, given young tree, old tree?
I can't give you an answer that will satisfy your question, because I also am thinking of, well, in 20 years, when the red maple is big and mature and the branches are spanning out over the deck and the boat, are we going to be in the same situation again?
Of course we are.
But it does provide some mitigation for the removal
But,
of the pine.
but I guess the question is, normally you shouldn't cut trees in this zone.
That are healthy.
Shouldn't touch it.
That's, and so then the question is there this imminent threat to the deck?
Every tree is an
And-
imminent threat.
and-
That's not true.
Right, so it
That's
doesn't.
not true.
It is true.
That's not a true statement when you say eminent. That's not a true statement. Every tree is at risk of falling. is not eminently in danger. That's a strong word to use that you shouldn't use. And that's the very generalization that shouldn't be made.
So then there is no imminent danger.
No, the risk of the tree, as I pointed out in the
I mean,
report.
and the branches, it's healthy, I don't see the branches falling either, and you could trim them.
That's why I wish we've been postponing this since June. So you guys would have the opportunity to go out there,
4 of the 5 went out.
but meet me there. And I've given you opportunity to meet me there and the client specifically to answer these questions. And we've given delay to specifically answer these questions outside of this arena here. And when you say the tree is healthy, the branches are gonna, you don't have the same understanding.
Right. Do I have a motion from anyone on the board?
I mean,
So I would have a motion to approve the 7 trees. And,
that was,
That's not,
oh, we can't do that?
well, you can do that, but it's not solving what we're arguing about.
No, we separate the,
No, it's,
And-
I'm
and-
either writing a permit to remove 7 or I'm writing a permit to remove 8.
so this,
The 8th being the one on the water.
so I would suggest that we take 2 votes, right? One is approve the 7, and then the question is, will we approve the 8?
You want to do it as a separate vote?
Yeah, because otherwise it goes up and down with 8.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, go ahead with the 7.
Right, I move to approve the motion to remove the 7 dead trees.
Haven't they been removed already?
What's that?
I thought they had been removed already. Oh, okay.
At 67 Beach Street, Street, yeah.
You
Have a
said
second?
second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
In favor. Okay, now on the 1 tree. Make a motion to,
I mean,
either way, it doesn't matter, say it one way or the other. What do you want?
so I make a motion to not approve the removal of that tree.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
There's your answer.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. All right. We are now on 30 River Road, request for a 3-year extension of an order of conditions, DEP file number 300-1019.
Just for clarification, this is the second application for extension. The previous request was denied. The second request is now before you today, and we have a representative to discuss.
Can you remind me which year was this original?
2018, and due to, it was a 5-year order of conditions, and with the permit tolling that it said it to expire October 14th of this year.
But as a practical matter, she didn't need to be on the board when it was approved to vote on a, was
Correct.
that why you were asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can vote on it to grant an extension, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
All right?
You'd treat it like it was a certificate of compliance.
Yeah, that's what I
It's a
thought.
new request, so.
Your name is?
My name is Dominic Maringolo, Project Manager, Solitude Lake Management. I appreciate the commission entertaining this request again. I was online at the last meeting and wasn't able to speak. And also, we also did a site visit with Lauren on Tuesday as well with the general manager of the camp. This program has been ongoing since 2018 to manage the Pine Lake water body on the grounds of the Boston RV Camp and Cottages. The program intends to certainly not turn the pond into a swimming pool, but it's intending to maintain the pond as an open water and vegetated water body. We've been almost annually been doing a program at the pond, which includes multiple surveys of the vegetation. We're managing all the non-native and variable water milfoil in the pond, and we've also been maintaining a balanced amount of native vegetation, including water lilies and bladderwort and some other plants.
What does a balanced amount of water lilies mean?
So in general, 20 to 40% cover of vegetation in a surface water pond is kind of beneficial.
20 to 40, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it is, but it's, we're really trying to do, the pond is about 6 foot average depth. Without management, the pond would eventually become completely covered in vegetation and water lilies. So we're trying to maintain the pond as a pond. So we're trying to control all of the non-native vegetation, but then maintain that range of 20 to 40% of native vegetation, water lilies, bladderwort, and other native submerged plants. And I think it was clear, we've been managing the pond since 2018. The site visit that we did Tuesday could clearly see on the back 2/3 of the pond, there was, water lilies, there was someone out there kayaking. And we've really, the program's been essentially the same. We actually visit the pond on a monthly basis. We typically do one treatment for the milfoil and submerged vegetation and one treatment for the water lilies. There was one year, 2022, I believe, that no treatments were done. There was a year we didn't feel like we needed to do the water lilies. But yeah, we have been managing this now for 6+ years, and there's folks haven't seen the pond, but again, there's emergent vegetation along the shoreline. There's a nice water lily cover in the back. We're trying to maintain this as a pond for the wildlife as well. Trying to, again, prevent it from, it's a man-made pond, shallow. Without management, the pond will eventually get, and it may not even be that long, 10, 15 years, could eventually get 100% covered with water lilies, and the eutrophication process would just be very accelerated at that point. I think the camp...
What do you use on the water lilies?
So we're currently using glyphosate herbicide on the water lilies. That was the other 2 points I wanted to make, and these were concerns that were brought up at the previous hearing. We have been providing the commission with year-end reports for every year of the management program that describes the plant assemblage or early in the season, late in the season, what treatments we've done.
Who did those go to?
We've generally been sending them to the agent. Yeah.
Have we gotten them?
I only found a few in the file, so I didn't.
I haven't.
I can resend all the copies. I actually have hard copies of, I have the hard copy of the last year's report. We haven't done this year's yet.
There may be a few hard copies that I didn't come across, but in the
I-
digital files, I only did not find
Oh, we have-
all of the years.
We have all the digital copies, so I can definitely send them to the commission.
Can't you just remove water lilies mechanically? Just with some kind of big machine or so?
You
Dredging?
can.
Dredging?
No, just pull it out. So
I would.
Is that bad?
It's hard to manage it at the root. It's like trying to weed your garden, and if you don't get the whole root, you don't get the whole weed.
Yeah, and honestly, mechanical machines, they can actually be more disruptive of you have to get them in and out of the pond. You have to pull the material out, store it on the shoreline, go in there with a smaller machine, move it. We're trying to be very selective. Like, we're not blanket treating the whole pond every year. We're kind of selectively treating water lilies. Selectively, we're going after any places where we see milfoil, non-native plants. But we're trying to be very kind of hands off or hands back from doing a lot of work on, and the camp site, I mean, they love the pond, they're stewards of the pond, they have swimming pools on the property. Not a lot of people swim in the pond, it's mostly boating and fishing, wildlife viewing. There was a requirement in the order for a pre-treatment report. We did one the first year of the project, and some of the other conditions clearly say it's an annual requirement. The pre-treatment condition did not say that. We're happy, I spoke with Lauren at the site visit, we're happy to send kind of a brief email memo on an annual basis. So it was when we do our first couple months of inspections before we treat. We're not under the understanding that a pre-treatment report was required every year, only the year-end report.
What would a pre-treatment report say?
So basically, we would have what plant species we found, where they were located, what density they were growing at, all the different, and also what we would, based on information, what we would intend to do that year.
Wouldn't you have to do that as a company anyway?
We do. It's just a lot of it isn't always like written down, and it's all kind of internal communication. So, but yeah, we definitely do that anyways. The other, and just from a overview, the program really hasn't changed and there are no plans to change it. The herbicides and algicides that were asked for in the original notice of intent, there has been no changes regulatory-wise from either the EPA or the state agencies on their labeling or their use in lakes and ponds. They're still permittable to use in lakes and ponds. Nothing has changed with these products.
Can I mention something regarding that? The WHO in 2017 actually issued a statement regarding glyphosates and being dangerous for human health, and actually many countries now has banned.
I understand.
Many states already, and even here in Massachusetts, many towns have banned the use. So my main concern with this is the application of glyphosates, and also having that algicides kind of like in general, without knowing exactly what are the chemicals, the products used for treatment. I'm quite concerned about the glyphosates. There are lots of studies about how they affect the nervous system, the relationship with breast cancer, and the relationship with another type of cancer, the lymphoma. And these are all studies that are much newer than when this was approved in 2018, because of course with time we get more information.
I understand your
so
concerns.
I wanted to mention that, and that's why I feel uneasy in extending something that is approving certain type of chemicals that now they are deemed unsafe, even though the EPA says that is safe. There are global studies all around the world.
I understand. Specifically with glyphosate, the state legislature actually formed a glyphosate commission. They are almost, I think they actually have their final draft report out. This is the state Massachusetts commission. You can definitely, there's websites available, the draft reports are available, and this is an internal state commission that did a review of all these newer reports that you're talking about. I've read the draft report. I don't anticipate there's going to be any regulatory changes with glyphosate, but I certainly recommend that you all read that as well. I understand your concerns. The actual usability, permittability of these products is under the purview of the EPA, the Department of Agricultural Resources, and DEP in Massachusetts. The fact is that they are allowed to be used. I've been told on a number of occasions by DEP, different circuit riders, that the commission's really not here to, and I don't want to tell you guys what you're supposed to be doing, but this is what I've heard. I mean, you're not supposed to be evaluating the actual chemicals. I mean, there's other agencies that do that. If you have issues with what the chemicals, what we're treating, controlling the vegetation, or you're not happy with what the herbicides and algicides are doing to the pond, that's certainly within your purview. But there are other agencies that know a lot more than us about the toxicology and the chemistry, and they understand that, and they're...
That's why it has been banned in more than 15
Yeah,
countries, in
it's the-
California, and even like...
I understand it. The fact is they're allowed...
Alaska. I know that maybe it's not part of ours, like regulating the chemicals, but knowing that they are chemicals that have been proven to cause cancer, and I don't know, would you risk the health of the people using the lake or the people of the town? Because
I don't believe there's a risk. They're still allowed to be used by
but it's not
the
about
agencies.
believing, it's
Yeah.
about believing on the science, and I can send you a list.
I don't know
of
if any of us are qualified to read studies and decide if they're safe or not.
yeah.
I mean, that's...
Is there a...
And also, I mean, there's nobody swimming in the pond. It's all entirely on private property. There's
an alternative to glyphosate?
And that's,
Huh?
and that's my question, like having like
I understand that, but the herbicides generally don't have any effects downstream. So we also get I have a copy of it here. Every year we get a permit from the Department of Environmental Protection, specifying exactly which products we're using, how much, how many times we're putting them in. DEP's allowing, they gave us a permit this
So
year.
my question is, would you have an alternative to glyphosate?
There is an alternative to glyphosate, Mazamox. It's another herbicide.
And is that...
I will have to do some research to see
Huh?
what are the health effects of the, and that's why with the general term of algae, without knowing exactly what it is, I'm not feeling comfortable.
But you don't have any data on the alternative?
I haven't heard about it.
Where do we stand with,
Ed, not to interrupt, but Lauren did you have a comment or a question?
I just have a question for Dominic, because I know that Solitude does a lot of work in Central Mass and in the state. Are there other bodies of water in Sturbridge that you treat that you use glyphosate and the other chemicals mentioned in?
We have used it at Walker Pond, I believe, but we've not used it at Cedar Lake. We don't work at Big Alum anymore, but I don't recall ever using glyphosate there. Trying to think if there was any other ones. I think we have used it at Walker Pond, but not very often. There's a
Different
bigger
vegetation.
water bodies, less, they're deeper, there's not a lot of water lilies to begin with, so the ones that are there provide good habitat. But Solitude is not the only company that works in Massachusetts, but Solitude alone probably works on well over 100 different water bodies across the
It's Roundup.
Different note, yeah.
It's banned in Germany.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
fun to, it was fun
They
like
don't
last
know
year
anything in
Germany
anyway.
I mean,
I'm telling you, it's like
So,
If it's banned in Germany, it can't be good.
we were gonna hear that.
I would encourage you to read the Massachusetts Glyphosate Commission report. I haven't read it word for word, but I definitely got the impression that they were not going to recommend any changes to the permittability of using it in Massachusetts. And they reviewed. There's this website on mass.gov about it. It has all the information on it, all the different drafts and the draft final report.
So in the interest of not having this expire without any type of action, and in the interest of providing ourselves a little bit of time to evaluate this, my perspective would be this for us to consider, This was under a 5-year permit because of COVID, which is
Well,
extra.
it was approved for 5 years, and then permit tolling brought it out to a little over 6.
Okay, right. So it leans into my point, which is we would be asking for a new application after a 3-year extension in a normal situation with a 3-year plus a 3-year. So we're kind of at 6, right? So we would be asking for a new notice of intent, most likely after one extension in cases like this, because of situations like this. Chemicals change, science change, we get more information, it allows us to make a better decision. The use has changed. Like when this was first approved, this was just a project, and now it's in operation. And there's a lot of things that we need to consider along the use of that water body at this point. There could have been a consideration early on that it was going to be a swimming hole. It's not now. Now it's used for primary for kayaking and fishing. What does that do to our plan? So my proposal would be this, similar to what Lauren laid out. I think it was a practical way to go about this, is to consider a 1-year extension. I get your concerns, Fleur, but I think we're under a tight enough timeline that I think to be reasonable with the applicant, we extend it for a year with the expectation that there'll be no further extensions and that we'll need a notice of intent to continue forward on, so all of these things can get figured out.
So the extension means that they can continue using glyphosates in the treatments for one other year.
For one additional year. Yeah.
I'd like to speak against that.
Okay.
I think that
we generally
what I've heard here tonight,
We've obviously had lax reporting to us, no pre-report, and I'm concerned. I think you should refile. I don't think we should, even give them the 1 year.
We have been giving the reports. I mean, if you look through the order, I think it's a reasonable argument that could be that it was the pre-treatment report was only due the first year. All the other conditions about reporting say in the last sentence of the condition, this is an annual requirement. The pre-treatment report condition does not say that. We have all the year-end reports for every year of the project, except for 2022 because we didn't do anything that year. I think the applicant, I believe, would be happy or satisfied with the 1-year extension. The NOI, I mean, literally, we're going to basically take the NOI we did in 2018 and copy it because nothing has changed. And I know there's more information about it. There's new studies and new articles on the internet about these products, but again, there are other agencies that regulate whether these products can be used in lakes and ponds.
We are talking about the World Health Organization.
I get it. I'm just saying, there's other agencies in the United States that are, and the Massachusetts put together this glyphosate commission for just that reason that you're talking about, that there's so much press about it and the WHO decision. So I would encourage you to read through that commission's report, but
So I'd like to make a motion unless there's further discussion.
Can I just?
Yeah, no.
Do we have anything outstanding with 30 River Road that we're in court with them, right?
Yes.
And they haven't finished, they never finished the project as far as.
I'm not sure where the litigation stands. I asked for a follow-up from counsel.
So I don't even know.
There's a few open orders.
There's open orders.
So I
Well,
just,
this one's, keep in mind, it's not a request for a certificate of compliance, so this remains an open order. But just, Eric, to add on, my recommendation was to approve the 1-year extension with a condition that a pre-survey report be submitted for review prior to treatment by the SCC for the next year. So another pre-treatment survey, like what was stated in the conditions, 4-year review before treatment.
When does the treatment need to be
So
done?
I just have a technical kind of procedural question. We denied the request for extension last time.
And it has not expired yet.
And this was our vote, so there is no extension. So are we now,
You got a new request.
but there already was a request, the request was denied. You can't just,
That's why we had them file, the request was denied, so this is another request.
you can't just
Same
request, I mean, then, so Joe comes again and files another request?
I was
for-
online, I wasn't able to speak. I mean, I was online and the audio wasn't working.
Well, I think when it comes, if we made a vote to deny the project, they would have to refile.
Right, exactly.
This is a different thing. This isn't.
It's not a request for a certificate of compliance either.
File, but if it expires, which is my understanding, it's the 14th.
Correct.
Right. So this is the last bite of the apple.
16th.
There won't be another request that comes in for the next meeting because our next meeting is the 21st. So I get what you're saying, but we're talking about a very narrow.
Okay,
You know.
just clarification. I mean,
So when do you normally?
So,
I
we
think-
start our monthly inspections in April, typically the first treatment is in June.
you can also use vinegar, it says, and citric acids.
And how long would it take you, Dominic, to do a new filing? Probably the whole time from now until then, right?
Oh, I'm sure we could get a new filing together. It's, in my opinion, I don't see the point, but I mean, I've said my piece. It's up to the commission to make their decision.
For the other side.
So could you do it without glyphosate? I mean, just with the other three?
I certainly think we could skip a year of glyphosate if that would make the commission more agreeable. I don't even know if it's possible to put stipulations on an extension, but if you did a 1 or a 3-year extension with the stipulation that glyphosate is not, or do a 1-year extension, I'm not gonna get greedy. The stipulation that glyphosate is not used for the treatments in 2025, I think that's.
I mean, do you think it would make a big difference in terms of the treatment?
I think going a year without managing the water lilies would not be detrimental. I mean, there's been other years where we haven't needed to treat the water lilies.
So the water lilies need to be treated by glyphosate in order?
Yes, that's correct. Glyphosate is for the water lilies. The diquat is for the milfoil, and the copper algicides are for the algae.
I'd like to see a refiling. I'm not comfortable with where we are.
Can I make a motion, or do we have more comments?
No, go ahead and make a motion.
So I'd like to make a motion to issue a 1-year extension on this file with the condition that glyphosate will not be used during this 1-year extension period, with an additional notation that a refiling of a notice of intent will be required past this extension.
I second that.
Any discussion? Eric?
Nope, I'm good. Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
San Germán opposed.
What?
Opposed?
Opposed, it's good on opposed.
I oppose it too.
Do we have another motion?
We oppose the motion.
We oppose the motion.
So then I need another motion then.
Why?
Because there was one motion to grant the 1-year extension that did not carry, so now I need a motion
For what?
to reject the request for extension.
Didn't we just do that? No.
Right now, it's just in limbo because it's not,
We just
I make
oppose
a
the,
motion to
deny the request for
deny the
extension.
request for an extension for 30 Beaver Road, EB 5300.
second.
have a second? Any
Second.
discussion?
Eric Gaspar opposed?
Roy Bishop oppose.
St. Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Okay, motion
Thanks,
carries.
folks. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Dominic.
right, we're now at transmission line 301. Request for a certificate of compliance.
The request is for transmission line replacement. We received the final reports with the photos, no issues or concerns with the project. Recommendation is made to grant the certificate of compliance.
All right, discussion? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
With regards to DP file number 300-1173, I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance.
I second that.
Any discussions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
St. Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
Whoa.
165 Shepherd Road.
I would like to make a request to move to item 18. For the last item, we did just have someone that was on virtually. We don't have anyone on for 165 Shepherd, but I do have someone in the room waiting for 53 New Boston Road. I don't know why it says New Road.
Excellent.
So if you wouldn't mind entertaining that and moving to
Which-
item 18,
which number
that'd
is
be
this?
great.
Where is it?
Thank you for your patience.
Of course.
What number, where are we now? At what number?
Number 18.
E18, this is 53 New Boston Road, SCC number 2206. This is a project for new development, single-family home. It's at the intersection of Adams and New Boston, right across the street from the preserve. The house was developed, and they went through a process. It went through a series of review and modifications. The applicant had requested an as-built survey from their engineer showing everything post-development. What their engineer provided was not an as-built, it was just a plot plan. They're currently in litigation with that engineer, so in my opinion, it would be, I don't see justification for having them pay to have another surveyor come out for the as-built when the project is just it's under the 200-foot buffer. My concern on the project was the runoff going onto their property, which is not runoff from their own site. They're responsible for catching all the runoff from the preserve in New Boston Road and having a swale in there. My request to the commission is that prior to requesting a certificate of compliance, that the commission be open to accepting an operation and maintenance plan for the swale and the basin in place of an as-built plan, and accepting the plot plan with and I did the site inspection with no signs of erosion. And if the homeowner would like to add on to that, this is.
And you summarized it well. Yeah, we're really just trying to avoid spending a lot more money. You know, as she said, we're in litigation, which is quite costly. So, you know, basically the maintenance plan, like Lauren had a concern that we had vegetation growing in there, so I took actually a week off from work and I just went out there and was pulling up all the vegetation, and you know, so I cleaned up the swale myself, and we agreed upon a plan to basically 2 to 3 times a year blow out the swale to clean it out and keep the vegetation under control. You know, and so kind of just agreeing to do that, we would agree to work with the commission to do that in exchange for essentially kind of granting this exception for us.
And I believe you guys collected measurements on the swale as well, since that was.
Yeah, my wife was
kinda
measuring that as
left.
So let's see, it's 12.5 foot width of the shaft, 16.5 feet width basin, and the basin is 32 feet in length.
Going down the side?
Going down the side, yeah, it's adjoining.
Whatever happened with the water on the other side of your house?
On the other side.
Cut back down behind you also?
It goes to the side off the driveway and then goes down around the back.
It does, okay.
Yeah, I walked Carly down there.
Yeah, I'd have no idea.
And there is the town has a drainage easement going down Adams, but clearly the water had different plans, and
Yeah.
wants to cut through their yard
I
instead.
have no problem with it. I think it's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah, I feel bad that you're in that situation.
Yeah.
But if you're maintaining that, that's the only thing I was gonna say. There's been some times I've walked down there with the dog and I'm like, that needs to get cleaned out, and I don't say anything about it. I probably should, but, so thank you for doing that.
That was kind of what brought it on my attention, and then we kind of just
Yeah, we kind of,
unraveled
I
from
wasn't
there.
sure, I mean, I didn't really know anything about maintaining swales, to be honest, and, you know, we thought, well, if there's some vegetation in there, it will help to mitigate some of the runoff, and, you know, when talking with Lauren, it was like, well, you know, it would be better to do, so she had some suggestions on what to do, and, you know, so I think we came to a good agreement, and, you know, now we kind of have a better idea of what to do.
And I thought before requesting a certificate of compliance, which does state an as-built plan is needed, I wanted to come before you all to see if
Yeah.
that seemed fair.
Very fair.
So that way we can move forward.
Anybody have a problem? All right, we're all set. Thanks for
Okay.
coming in. I'm sorry you sat over there.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's all right. It was interesting sitting in.
We have associate positions open if you want to.
I've already tried recruiting his
Oh, did you?
mother-in-law.
Oh yeah, she's excellent. My mother-in-law would be the one to talk to, not me. I'm just I'm a lowly computer programmer. That's what I do. I don't do any of this stuff.
So I guess in the
Work with
meantime,
your
we'll
type all the
continue
time.
to.
You're not lowly. The power that you have.
So in the meantime, we'll continue to work together, and then once we have that together, come forward with presenting the operation and maintenance plan in addition to the as-built plan, or the plot plan for the request for certificate of compliance when that's appropriate.
Great.
Great. So I'll follow up with you next.
Yes.
Great. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sorry.
No worries.
All right, we're back to
Thank you.
165 Shepherd Road, request for
Correct.
certificate of compliance. SCC 2211.
So this project was also for development of a home. It's the area, we got the as-built plan. The as-built plan shows additional paved area. Basically, they made themselves a big, long turnaround driveway instead of just the one driveway that was proposed. And part of that paving is within the 100 and 200 buffer. It appears that the other conditions have been met. There were wetland bollards that were supposed to be in place, and Erin did reach out to Becky, who, before she left, was able to confirm those and expect those. So really, it kind of just comes down to if the commission wants to accept the additional paving, if you want to require additional mitigation for that unauthorized work, or if you just want to tell them that they have to rip it all out.
It's outside the 100.
Yeah, it's between the 100 and
There's a
200.
vernal pool there.
There is a vernal pool.
It is on the others, so the vernal pool was on the left-hand side of the property. The driveway with the permanent bollards were on the left-hand side, showing that they can't expand anymore to that area. The additional driveway was put on the right-hand side, further away from the resource area. They did not encroach outside of their limit of work towards the resource area. They encroached on the further away, but the driveway was not part of the original plan. Therefore,
So how far away are they from the vernal pool?
the driveway was probably about 150, I would say. It's between the 100 and 200.
Do you have the, I think we have the as-built.
And
here,
vernal
right?
pool has a 200-foot area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see if
I
I
have
can.
pictures on there and
Did they know about the vernal pool and they just did it? or-
Did.
Yeah,
We got
well,
it
if I know
here.
about it.
We got it.
They must. Right?
There you go.
All right.
So
Is
the
that-
original engineer was Jalbert Engineering. The property owner, I tried to assist them by finding, they had solicited McClure Engineering to go out there. McClure provided us right, so that's our original, that is the original
Where's the vernal pool,
project.
right?
The vernal pool is, if you go up, yep, over there.
Right here, right?
Yep.
And so that was the proposed driveway?
Yep.
And so
And
they-
then the new driveway goes around that septic leach field area. On the new plan.
Oh, Jesus.
So they completely changed the driveway.
Yeah.
The driveway, the original proposed driveway is the exact same driveway. It's just,
Can you go back to the
Well,
other
So
one?
this is the proposed,
There was,
and then they added all this.
yep.
well, that's quite a bit.
But this is the portion that's within.
But so, I mean, it's
Jurisdiction, but-
away from,
Yeah.
right,
So there
so,
is a small section where Lauren's cursor is, that
This is,
within.
yeah, that's technically what's within jurisdiction.
So everything else, we wouldn't have any say over.
Well, we did have some, we had them,
Say
we had
over,
them put
if
the.
somebody gives you an approved
Remember, that
plan.
was a very
No, no,
large site, and we didn't have any wetlands.
So the- so this was,
delineated in the back, so we just
That's
had
the
them put
original
this
proposal.
was,
silt fence, and that
so
was
this
the
one was
original
already
ordinance.
approved.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so they added just this away from the,
That was just proposed to be a grass area.
Now, is
Yeah.
there- this-
It goes all around the back of the house
Is this
and,
a garage here?
I
I
have
don't-
pictures. No, the garage is on the other side.
Garage is here.
No, the garage is on the other side.
I assume we would have approved it if they would have come up with that plan, right?
They just
Well,
did what they
I
wanted.
would think.
Huh?
I would think.
But-
I mean, it's between
They have a
150 and
garage.
200.
It's kind of in the middle, I guess.
That's all the way along. I like these sideways jobs.
yeah, I don't know. if I
There's
can-
the bollards
I don't
that they
think I can
had, those
rotate
little
on here.
small, you can see them in the picture.
Did they cut trees for that driveway and stuff?
There we go.
Did they cut trees for it?
Yes.
I don't recall what the site, I only went out there when the site was
Yeah,
woods.
that was all woods.
So,
It
so,
was woods, but
so-
I don't know if the proposed plan, that was within the approved limit of work, so I don't know how many trees per se. I mean, it's hard to remember each project.
is it creating more of stormwater or something like
It's
that?
like a 5 acre
See,
site.
yeah, it's a big site, no, I think it's 10.
So does it create more
There we go,
stormwater?
you can see up the side of the driveway, if you look really closely, there's there's these cement baller, oh, there's
Oh,
one.
Oh, there they are.
There they are.
Yep,
There's one right there.
so we do not want them to encroach any further to that side beyond the erosion control.
Yep.
But the driveway was additional.
So
We
why
could
did,
have-
why
you
did
know,
they put this in?
Your
Just-
option is like
That's-
Lauren said,
that's
you could
le-
ask them
that's
to do some
legit.
additional mitigation.
Why,
or you
why do
could
people
just
do the
approve
things
it.
they do?
What?
You could ask them to do an additional mitigation for the driveway, or you could just approve it. Those are
We-
your
we
choices.
don't
Or
have
you
it.
can ask them to rip the
Or you
little
can
bit
ask
of the
them-
portion that's
No,
within
that
the
doesn't
buffer
seem
out,
reasonable,
which,
but
yeah.
the question I have is, do we have any of the original site plans that showed whether or not there was any plantings that was in that area that
See
would
that
have been
snow
jurisdictional?
Limit of work is right here.
Yeah, it is outside
they went
the
beyond-
approved limit of work.
yeah.
The
Outside the
snow-
limit of work,
The
and
snow
the
fence
whole
was supposed
thing
to be
there
the limit of work.
It was a forest.
Yeah, so where the driveway is, right at the edge of the driveway, this is the limit of work. So basically, they went outside the limit of work about it here.
So, I mean, my personal opinion is it's unreasonable to ask them to haul it out, but it's not unreasonable to ask for some plantings
Plantings
to improve the site conditions and get, and get the approval, so.
May I suggest you just hold off on issuing the COC and then ask for
The landscape.
plan.
A planting plan, yeah,
That sounds good to me.
yeah.
Okay.
So we're
Can we
gonna-
get a
we're gonna-
formal
we're gonna
motion?
Table the request, right?
Yep.
But we will take a motion for the other part.
Long meetings today.
A motion for the other part?
Well,
We
we
don't
wanna-
want to deny the certificate of compliance, do we? Or
No, but you wanna, something formal that you'd like to get a planting plan to mitigate.
You can
for
make
the-
a motion that you can just vote to the fact that you all agree that a planting plan or a landscaping plan is required for
So we're not
further
denying,
discussion.
you guys are saying we're not denying.
Continuing the
You're-
request,
you're
table in the
tabling
request.
the request.
I'd like to make a motion to continue.
Why don't we deny it?
What would you
I
like
mean,
them to
you
do
can, and then they
instead?
refile and,
Oh, at least he's got to come in and talk to us.
Well, you,
for a certificate of compliance, we don't necessarily require everyone to come in.
Yeah, but if it's not, he's not in compliance.
you're right.
He's clearly not in compliance. and you want to ignore it.
I'm not ignoring it.
Would you like him to
My
come
rec-
to the
my-
next meeting?
I would deny it. And let the cards fall as they may.
Or we issue, or we table it and make a request for a planting plan, and if that planting plan is not up to what we
Timeline.
want, then I would think that we would want a planting plan no later than 2 meetings from now. So we could table it until the 14th of November, which is 2 meetings from now, and have them come with a planting plan. And if we accept that planting plan, we're still not going to issue the certificate of compliance. What we're going to do is we're going to approve the planting plan,
Have him do it.
have them do it, and ask for two growing seasons,
It's not expired yet, so they have some time.
right? I mean, that would be, I think that, denying it just seems like it's a forcing function, yeah, but it seems overly aggressive for this situation.
Yeah.
And if they
$50
say, no,
fee
I'm
is
not
a-
going to do
is a
anything,
plant.
then
Or
we get
another tree
aggressive.
plant that they might need.
Huh?
That $50 fee that they'd have to reapply can be better used towards plants or another plan, that engineered plan that might be required.
Let's remember the place we're in, spot in time, and let's, in 3 months, let's talk about what we've gotten out of this.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I'll go along with what you're saying, but, you know.
all right. You know me, Ed. I assume positive intent, except when you and me, we don't assume positive intent with each other. But anyway, I'd like to make a motion to table this meeting, table this discussion until the 14th of November, 2 meetings from now, and request a planting plan from the applicant to compensate for the for the additional disturbance that was done outside of the approved project.
Okay.
And somebody has to come in and present that, right?
No, he's gonna come to her and say, what do I need for a planting plan? It's gonna put the work on her.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
No one else seems to mind.
If you don't mind,
Okay, Eric made a motion for that.
No second.
Roy second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
San Germany in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
Oh, this is mine coming up now.
Paradise Lane, a minor change.
You're up.
All right, I'm gonna handle this one. I received a call from Babes Landscaping. They are now working on our friends at 68 Paradise Lane. Jeffrey Buchanan, all of us have been there. We all know the house. Joe Cohen came before you and provided a new landscaping plan. The landscaping plan that he provided, there is a large maple tree that was due to be placed in an area on the, if you're facing the lake from the street, it would be the left-hand side of the house, in sort of mitigation for a cluster of ash trees that we allowed him to cut down due to them basically hitting into the house. We all remember this. When I got on site, there is a beautiful maple tree. It's out.
Can I correct that? The house hit into the ash
The house, sorry, the house hit into the ash trees.
The goddamn house wasn't there, the ash trees were there.
I know.
They came in and put the house up, and
So
then they
there-
said the ash trees were
so-
involved.
So they purchased.
as long as I don't have to go to 68 Paradise Lane again.
So they have the beautiful maple tree. It's on the property, and they asked me to come out and take a look. There is not a space over there for that tree. As you can kind of see from these, the pictures he showed, the tree would actually be partially on the neighbor's property, which the neighbors would not really enjoy that much.
What do you want to open, the plan or the picture?
The X is good. So the
Okay.
X was the location of this maple tree. It wouldn't have, there wasn't room for the canopy. There wasn't room for the actual tree. The tree would have had to been trimmed so aggressively to stay off of the neighboring property that probably wouldn't have lived.
So the neighboring property is the
That
parents?
blue house right there that
Oh,
you're
okay.
seeing,
Yeah.
that's the neighboring property. So instead, we came up with another plan, which was to put the tree next to those boulders, which is in a wetland area on the opposite side of the house, which would provide the tree area to become large, provide canopy over the wetland over here, And it would actually take away the very small grass area on that side that he was going to maintain as sort of a lawn, but as a mitigation, and I am in agreement that that is a much better location. The tree is going to live there. The tree is not going to do well in that spot.
Is it red maple?
It's a red maple.
And what's large?
It's large. It is probably 20 feet tall currently.
Great, that's
They
fantastic.
needed to be in a, and I think that whatever's growing over here will grow back. And also the front of the property, if everyone remembers, there was a well, there's a location of the old well. He was going to come back to you and ask about some additional tree removal there. He has taken that off the table. He is going to leave that area exactly as it is with all the natural trees that he has, and we will be gaining an additional large maple tree in that. So I say
Good.
it's a win.
Okay.
Is everyone okay with that as just a minor change
Yep.
to the plan?
Is there any negative impact
I do
to,
not believe
because,
so.
I mean, we're talking about a very rapid descent of water through that property into the lake. So not having that there, is that?
There is going to be additional shrubbery that is put in that area, just not an additional, the tree, the size of that tree just would not work.
Oh, that's fair. I just.
And the ash stumps will not be touched. They will just stay just as they are.
Okay, so we're not doing anything by taking that out of there to that side of the property that's going to further harm the wetland, because, I mean, with the slope there, it just suits. I mean, it was a difficult project to begin with.
He's also putting a whole wetland mix of, instead of just grass, he's putting a whole wetland mix of natural grasses and plant, flowers, and I think it will be an improvement.
Okay, all right.
All right, we're on to 28.
Do we need to approve the minor change?
I would request.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Minutes for
with
August
regards.
22nd.
Nope, we need a motion first.
With regards to DEP file number 300-1155 at 68 Paradise Lane, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minor change in reorienting the red maple to the other side of the property.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Chairman in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Gooden in favor. Now, meeting minutes for August 22nd. Have a motion?
I did want to comment, because I commented about your changes earlier. I like the fact that now they have the meeting video links in there and stuff like that in the minutes, so that I like that. So, anyway, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of August 22nd, 2024.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
And Chairman in favor.
Ed Gooden, go ahead.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
Was everyone at the last meeting?
That wasn't the last meeting, that was 2
Oh,
meetings
August.
ago.
Yeah, we had the full board, I think.
View and possible action on the 2025 meeting schedule.
I don't know if everyone's had a chance to review this, but this is a draft of the meeting dates for 2025 with our 6-week break between July 17th and August 28th. We reviewed it to make sure that it didn't overlap with any holidays. Aaron and I made some compromises to put the application deadlines to Mondays instead of Tuesdays, just because we are such a busy office, and that gives us at least an extra 24 hours to review incoming applications, with the exception of the October meeting, because that Monday is a holiday, so we adjusted it to that Tuesday. But if anyone has any questions, comments,
April break.
Can we have one less meeting next year?
when would you like to cut one? Tell me,
I
please.
did, I cut 2.
Well, which one do you want to cut?
Instead, I would suggest we have beer for the meetings.
I cut 2 of them.
Beats or something. Beats outside.
Oh, sorry.
So that.
I don't think it's any vacation
No, there's
weeks
not.
this year.
At least
Kinda works out.
unless it's, no, I think they're all
If it's
good.
my schedule.
I'm not going to be here
I don't know my
January 9,
schedule.
but I can connect remotely. Okay. I'm going to be in Argentina.
I don't know my schedule.
Yes, we're going to
Well,
visit
you can
my
plan
family.
around them.
Nice.
We can do Argentina, we can do away games.
Yeah.
Yes, but the only thing we kind of like to be sure that the sound works because it seems that the person that was
I
calling-
tested it at 4:30 today. I called in. I had no
You heard
issue.
the music,
I
right?
heard myself and I heard the other way. I even went downstairs
So
and
weird.
dialed in.
So it's
I did all the
maybe something
tests.
like coming out.
They can hear us. Or we can hear them today. They can't hear us.
Yeah, it's that the problem is here. So if that if that
If we
happens,
have
or
it-
I can
that's
call
so-
through
time for
Zoom,
if we have
a
it-
Zoom link or something like that, and you connect
Yeah.
with another.
If it's a meeting that you really just want to be a part of, like if there's something on there that you really want to weigh in on, obviously you can make every efforts. But if we don't have if we have a quorum and there's not going to be any issues, you can take the time, and you can also send your comments. If you know you can't, if any of you know you're not going to be able to be at a meeting, you are more than welcome to email me your comments, and I can read them in for the record
It's
at
just
the
that
meeting.
If you miss 2 hearings, you can't.
Yeah, that's
Right.
why if there is anything that is
Mm-hmm.
is carried to January.
So we're all set on that?
Is that, do we want, do you?
Well,
we never
the
really
only thing I was
voted.
going to suggest that if that was a serious request, that the dead of winters tend to be lighter on application. So if we were going to choose one, I would say Thursday, January 30th would be the one to target. If you were serious about peeling back one additional meeting, so it's almost
I
like
would've suggested January 9th, but.
January 9th would be fine too.
Well, the only thing is that would be a big gap because we have our December meeting is, I think, either the. 5th or-
December 5th. So
Yeah.
it'd be December
That'd
5th.
be kinda too late.
That's
No,
kind of what I was thinking, but
no, I would say January 30th as well, just because that is a little bit of a gap. The only thing that I would just say is if there's any other business that we want to try and tackle and take advantage of what might be a slower thing. So, but if there's no big projects or nothing that the commission really wants to spend time on, like policies or bylaws or review of things,
Are you talking about?
the 30th of cutting out this day.
Yeah, I would put that in fuzzy
I
type.
feel like that's kind of up for grabs that
Yeah,
it's a 50-50 chance that we get snowed out anyway.
yeah. Why don't we put that in like snow day type?
Got it.
And-
So would you like to completely eliminate that from the schedule?
Thursday, January 30th.
I'm always pro elimination
Yeah.
of meetings.
We would just do the same thing that we do in July, that we would just have the 21-day waiver, the applicants agree to waive the 25 days.
Right.
And
Yeah. Well, and there's nothing
Understandable.
saying that if we get to January 9th, that we can't,
you can do a special meeting.
we can do a special meeting,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So let's eliminate it and give ourselves the optionality.
All right, excellent.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to accept the meeting dates for 2025 with removal of the Thursday, January 30th meeting.
I second that.
Me too.
We really have to.
Okay,
Vote
now
on
would you all like to move the meeting times to like 9 a.m., 10 a.m.?
No,
Darn it.
I gotta work. I mean, I know you got to too.
Nobody would be able to come.
Yeah.
Up.
We can move it, but we cannot come.
Rory, did you second?
Yes.
Sounds good.
And you
All in
vo-
favor?
Eric
Yes.
Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Saint Germain in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Okay.
So no vote required at this time. You guys are all members of the community, so you all get to vote on the budget at town meeting, which everyone will attend next year, right? But just giving you the opportunity to review things before they go on. Generally, I've just added a 15 to 25% increase on items because inflation is a wonderful thing. Things like our lake testing program that the price keeps going up, office supplies. Also, we're working on transitioning the management of open space from the town planner over to me. So we've taken some funds to add on to my budget since the open space plan is open for review right now. And we're anticipating we have to do that next year and reprinting those. So again, no vote required, but if anyone has any comments, as you guys can see, we have funding within here for, you know, things like training programs, so.
I registered.
Yes, thank you. So if you guys, I send you guys these things, if there's, you know, MACC classes or Audubon classes that you want to take that are relevant to your position, we can reimburse you, or you can just let me know and I can set up the registration for you. So, unless anyone has any comments, I just wanted to share that with you. Great.
All right.
And then,
Who you want to go to next?
do you want to discuss item 23?
Didn't we approve of it already?
No, it's kind of just been in limbo.
We had a question for town council, was that?
Yeah, we had all that addressed. It's kind of just leaving it as it is, and I think I can go back to what the detailed agenda that we just, I think was 2 meetings ago, that just kind of clarified some things, but it doesn't have to be a policy. It just helps give you a little bit of backbone when you request things like that and it's not a policy. I think it's great that Glenn offered to do it willingly, but again, it's all up to you, how you want to do it. Just, I personally like having a leg to stand on when you're asking additional things
Well,
that
and
aren't.
I like the fact that it's a policy, and I like the fact that it says may, because it gives us the optionality instead of saying shall or must,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
So it gives us enough flexibility to request these things external of the policy, but it does give us a policy to point to when we have these things that continue on.
Right.
So
Similar to like the 7-day document policy. We're usually pretty stingent on that, but there's certain circumstances that, you know, if you are communicating with me and you bring it in on day 6, I will still review it, prevent it, and whatnot. So it's, you know, you don't have to always enforce it, but it gives you a leg to stand on.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the draft of the commission policy regarding application continuance and a butter notification.
Second that.
Discussion?
Would you like to have the effective date starting today? Or do you want to post date it, affect it, you know, you can have it effective now and then it would apply to, you know, at your discretion for any projects going forward. You can,
I assume we have to,
I don't know that we can post date checks in government, can we?
well, I just assume that we have to.
well, you can do the effect, you can set it for an effective date as of blah, blah, blah.
I think we can only apply it to projects that have not applied yet, right?
Yeah. So for like new projects.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So new projects.
Even if
effective.
that's the most cautious thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So
I
let's
mean,
do
I
it.
guess the effective date in my motion would be today.
Right.
Got it.
For
Thank you.
projects going forward.
Great.
Did we approve of it? Did we vote for it?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Bishop in favor?
German in favor.
Carsten in favor and
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Conservation lands?
No updates.
Any
good.
updates?
I have no updates. I'm just kind of getting my hands on them and taking inventory, and I'm updating that chapter in the open space plan and adding new lands and all that wonderful stuff.
It's 9:10.
Gotta get trails to work on that Fisk Hill property. They've got the park there. What are you smiling at?
Our ability to acquire land and start to do projects and then just stop. And then we acquire land
Do you want
that
me
we're
to-
supposed to be responsible for.
Do you want me to
And-
give you an answer to that?
No, there is no answer. It's not even really a question. It's just,
And the
just a
thing
general
is,
statement.
it's like putting money in your pocket. Simple as that. You can use the land every day.
Yeah.
COVID, people loved having the land to go out on,
Oh, yeah.
so. And bureaucracy will follow, it always does.
Anyone else have anything on conservation lands?
the government has got the Bovenzi, not the, yeah, Bovenzi property? No. I don't think of the name of it. I talked to him. And the 80 acres down south Sturbridge.
Ready to move on?
Yep.
Great. So, going down to item 24, Conservation Agent Update. So we are on track for the Open Space Forum on November 12th. It will be held at Town Hall. We've reserved the whole second floor. It'll be from 6:30 to 8:30. We have flyers already done. I have draft press releases for both the Open Space Forum and the photo contest that I sent with the Open Space Committee today to review and discuss. Happy to report the Open Space Committee is a full committee now. They just swore in 2 members, including Becky. So she's still involved, and she'll be a great resource for us as well. But I do encourage everyone to attend and be involved. It's a great opportunity for everyone to, get in their involvement with that open space plan. The photo contest deadline submissions will be November 1st. So I'll send out after we have that finalized flyer, which I'm doing distribution next week, so I'll send you all the flyers and everything for that. But I'd encourage you to, forward the email, share them, send them if you know people. The photo contest is open to all ages, and they'll vote on the photo contest at the Open Space Forum. You don't have to be at the forum to win, but that's just where the voting is going to be. And the forum is open to all ages. We're going to have some activities for kids as well to try and get them involved because, kids have things to say too. But it's going to be a great event, and I'm, really looking forward to everything that we're putting together for that. The Young Conservationist is open and live, and we have the flyers going out. The application is live on the internet. I'm sending out a package to various parties like the schools and everything so they can spread the word. I've sent it to the senior center, to the library. I asked Michelle to include that in the select board's package for their upcoming meeting, and requested if possible that their chair can make an announcement during their meeting. So hopefully we get some great responses for those. The deadline to apply is November 27th, and then we will review those. Oh, we just cut the January 30th
Should we
meeting.
send the notification directly to the leaders of the Boy Scout and Girl Scout troops in town?
We can.
Why don't you make a subcommittee?
Because they do a lot of work.
Why is there a subcommittee?
Yeah.
Well, these.
Well,
This is the
161
committee
does a
that
nice
vote.
job.
Why do we need a subcommittee?
So they don't have to have a meeting, they can look at it outside the meeting, and then they can report back their finding, who they want.
No, you'll be provided with all of the packets with information with names blacked out, and for you all to review, and then you'll discuss at the December meeting, and then be able to vote. And you'll vote at the first January meeting. So, winner announced at the 30th is still fine, because we can do that vote another way. And then it'll just be recognition with an award, so hopefully we get some great responses, and I think that it's a great way to kind of hopefully inspire some young people to get involved. Like I said before, you only have to be 18 to join a board, so we can find the next generation of commissioners. What else do I have?
Something for them to put on the college application.
Exactly. I kind of aligned the deadlines that way too, because I know early applications go in by then, but for normal applications, you'll have time to get that in. What is this now? I did issue an emergency order for repairs on Cary Road, which is a private road. The work is being done by Department of Fish and Wildlife because they own a huge chunk of land over there, and that's their ramp. But there's a sinkhole in the road, a culvert that we can't find, and it's just in really rough shape. Someone escalated this to where the state reps got involved, and
Where is Terry Road?
on the bottom side of Lead Mine, like near what's the street that,
Goodrich?
nope, what's the one that, Ferguson
Isn't that
lives
area
on?
there?
Is that like over where
It's
those
near-
are
it's past
almost
Bennett's.
impassable roads are down
Yeah,
there?
it's past Bennett's. There's a lot more work that has to be done on this road, and another culvert that Heather and I looked at that we think needs to be replaced, but it's just not part of the
Is that an
scope of this
open road?
project.
Is that an
It's a private road, that's why the town can't do it.
Yeah.
But
Fish and
there's
Wildlife.
literally a sinkhole.
Fish and Wildlife has 600 acres.
That's why they're doing the work. Is their majority
So where
owner.
Terry Peakman just put that little house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's
So.
your budget for fixing Hammock Brook? How are they gonna fix it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, it'll be done within the month. And there's more work that's eventually going to have to be done, but that's a much bigger project that's going to have to go, you know, notice of intent. But this, literally a sinkhole in the middle of the road that the safety cone keeps moving, and especially before the winter weather conditions, we wanted to get that done, especially while the state has the resources to do it and the people to do it. We had our first conservation and coffee last month, and in my opinion, I think it was great. We had 2 representatives from the lake associations. We had Ed, we had Carol from Open Space, Keith Breacher from Army Corps came, Lainey Wilder from Opacum came, we had Tom from Trails. Next time Tom's speaking last. But I think it was really great to just kind of get conversations going and seeing overlap in some of these projects. I think it was great to kind of get people to talk to each other and just kind of open up those communication networks. So we'll be doing those every few months and just keep that going. I'm currently working with the town administrator assistant on a system for inventorying all docks, permanent and temporary. I've sent an email to Waterways requesting if they just have a list of all of the permanent docks that they've issued licenses for versus me going to every single property registry of deeds and finding them. This is going to be a long process. In the last year, only 6 temporary docks applied for renewal from the select board, and there's definitely more than 6 temporary docks in town. It's going to be an adjustment just in the fact that it's, you know, people are going to have to provide their, you know, a sketch or a site plan showing their dock again, and just something that they're either they forgot about or they're not used to or they don't know. We're trying to find better networks to kind of communicate this. One of those being working with Slack. I've talked to Marita about, you know, when you have people that move into the lake, what do? Do you guys reach out to them? Do you send things? And they do reach out to new homeowners. So, you know, overall, just not even just for docks, for us as well, I see this as a really good opportunity to be able to provide new homeowners information on, hey, you know, here's how you do your dock. Oh, you want to do, you know, management on your property? Here's the steps that you have to go. So just trying to kind of wrap all these things in. And like I said, for some people, it's going to be an adjustment because it might just be a hassle. There's no fee associated with the registration. But you have to provide from the BOS policy, you have to provide the plan once, and then every year you just have to submit a renewal that says, yes, I've changed something, and here's my new plan, or no, I haven't changed anything. It just, somewhere over time, kind of collapsed, and we're trying to reel things back in. In addition to that, as I mentioned earlier, Class 2 and Class 3 license inspections. So that's your used car dealerships, which some of our license holders for those are all online. Not all of them have like physical sites in town. And then Kerboys is the only junkyard in town, but they're getting the packets for annual renewal ready for that, and in that will include a letter that says that they have to set up an inspection with the building inspector and then myself if it's within our jurisdiction, and then we'll have to be providing a memo to select board of, you know, observations and a recommendation, so that way they have a little bit more information to base their proceedings on. In my opinion, that's kind of how we got in a mess with the junkyards in the first place, is just, you know, licenses just get signed, but it's, you know, who's doing all these other tasks, and it's an extra thing we have to do, and it's a burden, but it needs to be done. And I think once we kind of just make it a routine, everything just kind of moves a lot more smoothly. A lot of these projects do overlap with so many other different departments, and if the other departments aren't talking to each other, we're all just kind of doing our own thing. Doesn't really work for anybody. We're also working on updating an inventory of all of our culverts. And for our department, any culverts that have been installed in new homes or any stormwater systems that are being installed in new homes that have been part of conservation properties or within our jurisdiction, especially ones that tie into town systems, and making sure that those are properly being maintained and reviewed so we don't end up with long-term problems in the end. And just as a little update, since the beginning of July, I personally have been on 73 site visits. So that just kind of shows how, in addition to everything that we're doing administratively, taking in applications and reviewing things and dealing with clients that are, coming forward with plans. We had people came today that we've spent so much time with, just showing how much of our time actually gets spent on all these other things and driving around. But letting you guys know just generally that we are a busy department and we're always doing something. And then that being said, I will be out of the office on October 17th to October 21st. So Erin will be available. Any questions?
And the site visit, you need to know.
If we could do it on the 14th or the 15th, that would be great.
I can't do it then. I can do the 16th though. When Monisha drives me
Yeah, but we have,
to New York
I have
for
a
an Indian
use meeting in
fundraiser for
morning.
Kamala Harris.
Oh, really?
Great.
Sounds like a good time.
I might be in Ohio, I might not be, so don't plan on me.
Wednesday doesn't, you said Wednesday might be an option?
Monday or Tuesday are preferred. Wednesday, I have a land use meeting, so that's like 2 to 3 hours of my morning.
Monday that week,
Monday
the
4th.
holiday?
Yeah, it's Columbus
Yeah.
Day, or indigenous.
That's why I just say the holiday, because I don't know what to call it.
So Tuesday the 15th.
think
Tuesdays I think are great too because it gives us more time, because if we want to get the detailed agenda out a week prior to the meeting and doing the site visits the day before, that gives me one day to write the details.
Tuesday definitely is, would never be possible.
I mean, I could go with them technically on Wednesday, if more people could go.
Like, don't plan on me. If I can make it, I'll make it.
Or are
but
you
I'm
available
supposed to be
either of
in
those days?
Ohio.
Neither.
Okay, well then I guess
Tuesday.
What about the week prior?
I have surgery on the 15th, but I'm trying to move it to the 22nd, so I could potentially
Push it out a month.
do it.
Let's just cancel the meeting.
Surgery is difficult to
Monday
move.
I know.
Do we have any
I wouldn't
applications
move
yet? I know the deadline's not till next week, but
Well, they said that it was the 15th, but they said like, but are you available also on the 22nd just in case? So they might move it.
have to be on Friday again.
no, we're not doing them on
Nowadays, it's
Fridays.
tough to get any
Can
appointment.
do Thursday the 10th.
2 hours. They're removing my infusion port. It's 1 year.
Thursday the 10th.
Thursday 10:10.
What?
Thursday 10:10.
Thursday.
I could do no. Thursday is the same. I teach Tuesday,
yes.
Thursday. So.
And then the actual meeting is when?
The 24th.
I could do the 17th if that's too late.
17 also.
Oh,
is
you're
good.
gone, right?
Yeah,
And I don't really-
I could do
I don't
Thursday the
leave the
10th.
office open.
I'm definitely not traveling that day. So,
Thursday 10:10. Meet at Town Hall at 8:30.
8:30.
Carson won't be there, but you might get Ed and Thor.
And Eric.
I will go directly to the site, just like I mentioned,
Yeah.
so that.
Yeah, and if there's certain sites like last time, if it's, you know, not realistic to get multiple cars in that area, we
Yeah,
can
we can-
caravan at certain points.
It's just that it's easier with the drop
Yep.
off at school.
Definitely.
We're gonna
Or we can start the meeting time at not like meet here at 9 if that makes it easier for you.
That's good, I think. It's
Okay.
So 8:30.
Okay, so site visits will be on 10/10, so we can notify any applicants that turn in anything within the next few days. Maybe we won't get any, I don't know.
I think Roy is up.
What?
I think Roy's up.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And go cheer the Brewers.
I didn't even get to say when my CPC meeting was.
Yes.
You guys will have to wait till the next meeting to
We'll
find
be
out.
all waiting to
What?
hear, I wanna hear all about it.